announcing that the trio were suspended indefinitely. They were arrested on May 10, tied to felony charges of residential burglary. Anthony Rizzo homered twice, part of a 3-for-3 night that powered the Cubs to a 5-4 win over the Giants at Wrigley. Diamondbacks complete a 3-game sweep of the White Sox with an 8-6 win in Arizona. Jose Quintana rocked for 8 runs in 4 1/3. Northwestern's women's golf team fell to Arizona State in the final round of match play in the 2017 NCAA Championships at Rich Harvest Farms. Cats are runners-up, losing out by a score of 3-1 to the top-ranked program in the nation. The second-place finish in the country is the best in program history for Northwestern. And, oh, by the way, they return 4 of 5 members of that championship lineup to play next spring. The news, a service of Sheboygan, Wisconsin Tourism. In Sheboygan, Wisconsin, there really is no traffic, and the weather is always perfect for something: biking, surfing, art museums, culinary experiences, and fun. All for just a couple of hours worth of drive away. Get out of town. Information at visitsheboygan.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
We finally have a president unafraid to utter the words radical Islamic terrorism. We finally have a president unafraid to challenge Muslim nations to rid the earth of this horrific problem. We finally have a president willing to go to the Middle East and make the opening steps to bring about a Palestinian solution. It's too bad this president has to leave the country to actually get fair and unbiased news coverage. Stick with this station if you want to know the good, not just the bad or the ugly. AM 560. The answer.
You hear me talk about MyPillow all the time, but that's because a good night's sleep is so important to our health. For May, you can still receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack, 2 premium MyPillows, and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. What I love about MyPillow is you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless if you sleep on your back or side. You'll get into deep sleep faster and stay there longer. No more waking up to a stiff neck or headache. What's great is our friend Mike Lindell manufactures them right here in America using American labor. You can wash and dry your MyPillow, and they are hypoallergenic. And of course, you'll get the 10-year warranty with a 60-day money-back guarantee. For May, get 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit mypillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, a group of nasty women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay squirreled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
5:09, let's get an update on the roads this early morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. Things are looking pretty good right now. We had some road work issues on I-55 between 53 and 355, but traffic is now moving well in both directions after there were earlier delays both ways. Little road work still on the outbound ride, 87th for the split into 2 left lanes, no delays there. 390 has some westbound road work, 290 to Rollway, and no delay there. And the southbound Tri-State has some work scheduled till 6 this morning, and that's from around the 82nd, starting around the 82nd Street Toll Plaza. Some traffic issues in the city. Today, the Cubs have a matinee against the Giants at 1:20, and tonight there will be some street closures downtown for the inside the Corporate Challenge 5K. Traffic is a service of Triton College. At Triton College, you'll find real quality in their modern facilities and dedicated faculty. You'll find real value in their courses that will cost you a fraction of four-year schools. At Triton College, you'll find real opportunity. Visit triton.edu today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answers starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Chris Morelli.
Today, clouds breaking for some sun, high 68. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 52. Friday, some sun, then turning cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 72. Saturday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 78. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
54 at O'Hare, 53 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Am I on?
There you
Oh,
are.
there we go.
Hi. Is this thing on?
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, I don't know what to do here.
Uh-oh.
I've got a penis transplant story,
Excuse
but
me.
your mom's here. I don't know if I can.
If you can say, well, maybe you can save it toward the end of the show. She's not going to be here too long. I'm going to Uber her from here to my sister's house in Arlington
All
Heights.
right, okay.
But
All
is
right.
it? Wait, does it end well? Wait, does it have a happy ending? Oh,
Save it for the story.
and I hope she doesn't even know what that means.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. Well, Louise is here. She came in from Arizona.
Mrs. Jacobson to
Mrs.
you.
Jacobson. Well, I call her Mom.
Yeah.
Mom's
You
here.
call her your first name.
I know. Well, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, Mom's here. And she came in from Arizona to watch the kids while we were in Dominican
Yeah.
Republican. Dominican,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so she's still here, and it's good because she went to our volleyball game. Last home game of the season last night. Didn't end well for the 7th and 8th graders, but
Do you
for
have
the
any
5th and
coaching
6th
tips
graders.
for you?
I don't coach anymore. No.
You were relieved.
No. Yeah, she took over. No, yeah, she threw a toaster at me, told me to get my lineup in order. You know, the usual.
Speaking of losing your mind, there is a special election today in Montana for the one Montana congressional seat. This is the seat that was vacated by Ryan Zinke, who became Donald Trump's Secretary of the Interior. And, you know, this is a race, or the state that Trump won, obviously going away.
Right.
I mean, 20 points plus. So there shouldn't be a close race.
And it's the only state where you have 2 senators and just 1 congressional member because of the population.
Is it?
Yeah.
Does Rhode Island have 2 members of Congress?
A little more populated than Montana.
Hmm.
You know what? I'll check the hot box
yeah.
and I'll get back to you on
Yeah.
that.
Oh, interesting.
But I think I'm right.
You could be.
Oh,
What about Wyoming? They have 2 congressmen?
I think they have 2 congressional members. I've been to Wyoming. The place is packed. I
All
mean,
right.
really.
We're going to do electoral count with Amy a little bit later, but for now we'll just focus on this race. So the Republican is a successful entrepreneur named Greg Gianforte.
Gianforte.
Oh, boy, here we go. Of course.
Well, he's a little Italian.
Yeah,
And it's the Gianforte. He
I know.
doesn't mess around.
thus the obligatory ethnic slurs, your impersonation
Not
of it. All
Italians
Italians.
love me.
Bobbity boop. You and Peter Griffin, the same category. So he's the Republican. This should be a walk. It's not. It is a close race going into the election today, mostly because of, Trump's flagging approval numbers and the energy of the quote-unquote resistance. He's running against a songwriter, a guy named, I'm not kidding.
I know. He's Bob.
Rob Quist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I call
you
him
call him
Bob.
Bob. No, he's not just like some, guy who was writing songs for the local artisans singing at the Potbelly. He's sold songs to, I think, Loretta Lynn and others. So, I mean, he's like, okay, he's a
Plays the
legitimate
banjo.
songwriter, and that's fine. You don't have to be a lawyer or a businessman to be a member of Congress. But he's way left. I mean, before we get to what Greg Gianforte did yesterday, Listen to Gianforte describing Rob Quist and their differences on the issues in an interview on Fox last month.
If this is about getting Montana values back into D.C., Rob Quist, honestly, is Nancy Pelosi with a cowboy hat. He's wrong on immigration. He wants the whole country to be a sanctuary country. He's calling for 90% income tax rates. He wants massive cuts in our military at a time when clearly we have problems around the world.
So, I mean, a Democrat can win in Montana, like John Tester's a senator there, he's governor. But it's usually the kind of, it's like a cowboy Democrat. It's not like a Nancy Pelosi Democrat, particularly on the issues. But that's not the case here. With Rob Quist, it doesn't appear from everything I've read and heard on the race. And so things not to do the night before an election when the race is close, among them, I would say, is lose your mind and body slam a reporter.
And we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
Speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian.
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hot up here, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
Mr. Gianforte, I have a follow-up.
Can I, one more thing? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Anything to say?
Any question I didn't ask that I should have?
Well, Fox News reporters, one of them was in the room and said he was fine. They're claiming this morning, Forte's claiming that the reporter put the microphone too close to his mouth and was really aggressive and didn't ask permission to come into the room to ask questions.
And he also,
which the Fox News reporter said, no, we were all in there. It wasn't a big surprise.
And the reporter also, the Guardian reporter also said with the microphone close to his face, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And that annoyed him.
Well, here's Jacobs describing, they did the aftermath, the breakdown of his injuries.
Went up and asked him about it and sort of said, talk to my communications person. I just followed up and said, you've been talking about this, just wanted to get your response. And then he should have said, no, I've had enough. And next thing I know, I'm being body slammed. Oh. And he's on top of me for a second. My glasses are broken. It's the strangest moment in my entire life reporting.
And then the Hulk Gianforte got on the top turnbuckle and landed a flying elbow drop, pinned him for the 3 count. And that match was over.
Do you think this guy's a little edgy? I mean, just saying. If you're going to be a congressman, you have to be prepared to deal with the media, to take questions, even questions.
He knows how to deal with the media.
Even questions you don't particularly like.
If he loses the race, what about White House press secretary for Greg Gianforte? Did you just say something to me, Jonathan Carl?
No,
are you talking to me, Carl?
Please, don't break my glasses, please.
So,
Well, this morning he's been charged with a misdemeanor.
Assault.
By the sheriff who donated $250 to his campaign, but that's the large state of Montana.
Well, the law is the law, and you have to, you're technically, I believe, it's still illegal to body slam people.
Yeah, you
in
can't
civilian
touch
life.
people.
I mean, in the WWF or the WWE.
But they're
different.
saying, CNN was reporting this morning that between 50 to 70% of Montanians, whatever you want to call them, have already voted in early voting because of the long, 3-day weekend that's coming up. So he might win. He stands a good chance of winning.
Well, I mean, this is a Republican state. It's particularly with respect to federal races, there are outliers, as I mentioned, Tester, and there's been others before him. But generally speaking, this is a guy also who's been in Montana for 40 years, since junior high school, long time, successful, contemplated a run for governor. And Donald Trump Jr. came in to campaign for Gianforte. So it's really interesting, but this backdrop gives you a reminder that if somehow he loses to Quist, the songwriter, people say, oh, that's a referendum on Trump, and local dynamics matter in these races, and sometimes it may be a bit of a canary in the mine shaft that it's as close as it is. But in terms of him, if he loses this race, it's going to be because he turned into Hulk Gianforte. And it's just so. It's such a jarring error in judgment, particularly anytime, but the night before a campaign. What are you thinking about?
Well, he lost. Cool. He's tired. I mean, really, he's at the end of his rope. Because you've been in campaigns before, it's exhausting. You're going from county to county, door to door, from supper hall to supper hall. And
I was able to restrain myself from body slamming anybody, though.
You were, but he said, again, their campaign this morning is saying that Jacobs had his microphone in his face aggressively.
Yeah.
And he had told him before, I'm not taking it anymore. And then he said, and I'm not taking it anymore. And then literally grabbed him and slammed him down. And he fell down and go boom on top of him and broke his glasses.
You could take this microphone and shove it. Also, the campaign doesn't like The Guardian because they had previously done a story about Gianforte and some of his investments and his investments tied to health care interests, kind of the Tom Price type story, if you will.
Yeah, they're trying to bring him down because their own agenda. They want the Democratic candidate to win.
Yeah. Well, it's going to cost you if he does.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
All morning we'll be playing Rob Quist.
Any song that Rob Quist has written will be playing.
Also, we'll take your rankings of best body slammers in WWF history. I don't follow the WWE, so I have to go back to the 80s.
Oh, okay.
So your Hulk Hogan is an acceptable answer. Mm-hmm. Your Big John Studd is an acceptable answer.
Randy Camacho.
Your King Kong Bundy. Randy Savage.
Sure, that guy.
Yeah, Randy
Who's
Savage.
Camacho?
May he rest in peace.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hector Macho Camacho, he was a boxer.
Hector Macho. Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh. Jim, do you see what I'm dealing
with? Jim, what is the traffic like this morning?
Well, good morning, Amy and Dan. Good morning. No body slamming on the roads, thankfully. All the overnight roadwork delays are gone, and we haven't had any road rage incidents. We do have some issues in northwest Indiana. In Porter County, eastbound 94, got some delays from State Road 249 to 149. There's police activity on the shoulder there. Eastbound I-80 is heavy, Cherry Hill to Gauger. Have mild delays now on inbound I-57 to the Bishop Ford. The inbound ride's a little sluggish, 18th into downtown Chicago. The other expressways and tollways right now are all clear. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-4098. Even better, call right now and you can get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-5236. That's 1-800-500-5236. 1-800-500-5236.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
If you're an unincorporated business owner, it's too late for you. That is, if you've already been sued and lost your home, your car, and your family's life savings. But if you haven't been sued yet, there is still time to incorporate and protect your personal assets. And if you do it right now, you can incorporate in just 10 minutes, because Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners. For your free 10-minute incorporation guide, call now. 1-800-400-4817. Incorporation is the shield that protects your personal assets. Without it, you could lose everything. That's why at Incorporate.com, they just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. They don't provide legal or financial advice. If someone sues tomorrow, will you lose everything? Don't wait until it's too late. Hurry and call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide while they're still giving them away for free. Call 1-800-400-4817. That's 1-800-400-4817. 1-800-400-4817.
AM 560, The Answer.
There's an ominous cloud hanging over this town.
Hey, you were right.
Oh, this is a Rob Quist song, by the way. 45 Caliber Man is the song. It's available on 45s, I believe. This is the Democrat candidate for Congress in Montana.
It's not bad. Here, listen. Can you turn it up, Justin?
Is this Rob Quist singing? Not that I don't know his whole oeuvre, but...
You didn't download this on iTunes? Not bad. This is the refrain. Okay. You were right. Wyoming
if he wasn't
has
such a liberal, I mean, you know.
Oh, it is him singing. This is him singing.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
He's not bad. Wyoming has one House seat.
Oh, yeah. I think
Montana, North
the only
Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, and Delaware.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
right, thanks
so
for,
fine. You
thanks
win.
for clearing that up. Text from 708 in Montana, you gained votes for what Gianforte did, the body slam. We'll see about that.
They interviewed some undecideds today, and 3 of the 4 liked what he did.
Well,
because it's this whole bashing of the media. Oh, and
exactly.
he bashed the media. Oh, yeah.
One of the original Bash brothers.
He took him down. But he broke his glasses. Should he pay for the glasses? Should he offer an apology to Mr. Jacobs? Taking your calls all morning long, 312-642-5600.
Interspersed with Rob Quist music.
Right, of course.
We got to make time for that. Yeah, I mean, obviously he should apologize. What he did was inappropriate, was wrong.
Illegal. Yeah.
Yes. You don't body slam. You don't assault people because you're upset with their coverage or you didn't like how close the microphone was to your mouth. You know what you do? Take a step back and say, I'm done speaking with you now, and then you walk away.
I've addressed this issue before. I haven't made up my mind.
Oh, boy.
About the CBO report. Now, please leave. That's all he had to do. But now, no. But some people are hailing him as a hero.
Well, hero.
In Montana.
Who is hailing him as a hero?
In Montana.
Nobody's saying hero.
They love what he did.
Hero.
The Guardian, they want to take down the Guardian.
Heroes come pretty cheap these days.
Yeah,
you
they do.
become one by throwing a leather ball through an iron hoop. Barbara Hershey from Hoosiers. I played
right.
Barbara Hershey in the school play, our school production
of Hoosiers.
Yeah. Why so unfriendly, Miss Fleener? I know men like you. You know anything about me. I know you're here.
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't that powerful? My performance. Could you imagine me as Barbara Hershey, how good that was?
Could you do the coaching scene, last game of the season? In the locker room, please. I had that moment yesterday with my guys.
Oh, no. My Hackman, I mean, the I love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got to do my team's on the floor. Oh. That's the moment from Hoosiers. Yeah. And I also do a bit of a shooter flatch.
Yeah.
I'll do shooter flatch later in the show to Rob Quist music.
Coming up On Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get serious and update the Manchester bombing at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, let's start there in Manchester, England, in our Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. British authorities moments ago say they believe a possible terror network is behind the deadly Manchester suicide bombing. Police have now arrested 7 connected with the bombing, including a woman in a raid this late Wednesday in North Manchester. Earlier, the father and brother of the suicide bomber were arrested in the Libyan capital of Tripoli. President Trump meeting with NATO leaders today as he continues his first international trip as president. The meeting in Brussels is expected to focus on the Trump administration's commitment to the military alliance. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
The U.S. is spending 4%. We're doing a lot. The American people are doing a lot. For your security, marginal security, you need to make sure you're doing your share.
Trump saying NATO was obsolete during his campaign, but earlier this year said it no longer was, but wants more defense spending from NATO members. A U.S. House candidate in today's special election in Montana charged with misdemeanor assault after allegedly slamming a reporter. Guardian reporter Ben Jacobs says Republican candidate Greg Gianforte attacked him at campaign headquarters yesterday evening.
And we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you
Okay,
have
speak Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing.
Jacobs says Gianforte broke his glasses and injured his elbow in that scuffle. Jury that will hear Bill Cosby's sexual assault trial is set. The 2 final jurors for the June 5th trial were chosen yesterday. 5 people are in custody after a man was shot by undercover police officers in Aurora. Authorities say officers were watching 2 suspicious vehicles yesterday when someone in one of the cars shot at them. Chicago making changes following the United Airlines passenger dragging incident last month at O'Hare. Officially now, the city council has approved an ordinance that bans city emergency employees from helping airlines remove passengers from flights. Lawmakers in the Illinois House now say they're looking at the plan to raise nearly $5.5 billion in taxes, but no one is saying when or if a vote may come on that Senate Democrat plan. Cubs over the Giants 5-4. Diamondbacks over the White Sox 8-6 in Arizona. The news service of NTB. Don't miss the NTB Super Sale. 72 hours of savings. Going on now through Memorial Day for oil, service, repairs, and low prices on top tire brands. Visit your neighborhood NTB. That's all you need. 5:33, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com. Providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes the Trump administration needs to fix the leak.
Let's take a moment to talk about these leaks, because there's somebody or bodies within the Trump administration who want to do them in. There's no question about this. It's felonious to leak a lot of the information that has been leaked to the media over the first few months of the Trump presidency.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants. And that's why you need to see Dr. Norouzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Norouzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Norouzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
5:35. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In northwest Indiana, we see a little bit of a roadwork delay now on 8094 westbound from past Grant to Burr. Eastbound 94 is heavy. US 20, Porter County, State Road 49. Edens is clear. The Kennedy inbound, heavy out of the River Road toll to Canfield. 21 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Clear outbound. Eisenhower getting a little congestion now around 25th Avenue. Inbound Stevenson delays start at Harlem. From 355 to Lakeshore Drive, it's 40 minutes. Outbound 34. Ryan, 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 25 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Traffic is a service of NTB. Don't miss the NTB Super Sale. 72 hours of savings. Going on now through Memorial Day for oil, service, repairs, and low prices on top tire brands. Visit your neighborhood NTB. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, clouds will break for sun today and a high of 68. Cloudy and 52 overnight. And tomorrow, graduation day for many. Some sunshine. In the morning, clouds late in the day, maybe a thunderstorm, and a high of 72. Currently 52. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy updating the Manchester bombing. More arrests, Amy. You have the bomber's brother and father picked up in Tripoli. They're in Libya. And
another brother, the 23-year-old,
Right.
picked up in Manchester.
Right, in the UK,
In the
exactly.
UK,
His sister, so that all three are in custody of some sort. Counterterrorism forces picked up his brother, the brother and the father that were in Tripoli. The father, an administrative manager of the Central Security Force in Tripoli. This all happened yesterday. Also, his sister spoke, and she basically said that her brother was a loving person.
Please. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But
as I'm rolling my eyes, all right?
But and she was surprised by what he did, but he was driven by what he saw as injustices, quoting his sister, Jomana. I think he saw children, Muslim children, dying everywhere and wanted revenge. He saw the explosives America drops on children in Syria and he wanted revenge. Whether he got that is between him and God.
Any remorse there for what her brother did? No, doesn't sound like it. Not sensing the anger that I would like to feel from his family members, because one of them actually did alert police, but didn't lead them to him.
What about the
Police
reaction?
didn't really act on it.
So we've got a variety of reactions. Let's do political ones first. I mean, this is just the left and the Trump derangement syndrome, as many people, including our friend Brett Baer, have termed it. That is at highest threat level right now. Paul Cruikshank, who is a CNN terror analyst, on Anderson Cooper's show, Gloria Vanderbilt's kid, he said the suicide bomber was more than likely responsible. However, it must also be noted that in recent months in Europe, there's been a number of false flag plots where the right wing has been trying to blame Islamists for terrorism. So this could have been a right-wing misdirection play. Yeah. And
how many people in London have gone, or in the UK, have gone to fight for ISIS and have come back? Because I heard a report yesterday that there was 900.
Well,
900 people that left. They went to either Syria, Libya, where whatever hotbed ISIS is, Turkey, and then came back to London. Why do they let them back in?
Well, that's a fair question to ask.
I mean, it's not my country's question, but it is a question to be asked.
Yeah,
because they want to kill us.
Reported 400. I mean, these are, I assume, estimates that are being given to the media, to the tabloids, by the British intelligence or sources they have in British intelligence. It is worth noting that the Islamic strength is weakening in terms of landmass coverage, in terms of foreign fighters. Robin Wright, writing in The New Yorker, notes that since the onset of the military campaign in October, ISIS has lost 66% of the territory it had conquered in 2014 in Iraq and almost half of the territory in Syria. So that's a pretty big pushback from where it was just 3 years ago in both Iraq and Syria. 2/3 of the territory it had controlled in Iraq, half of it in Syria. This is according to a State Department official who spoke to Ms. Wright. More than 4 million people, have been liberated from ISIS rule. 2.7 million in Iraq, 1.4 million in Syria. Also the vast majority of the foreign fighters in the battlefield in Iraq and Syria have also been killed, according to U.S. military officials. Since 2014, at least 40,000 foreigners from around the world went to fight for ISIS. Only about a quarter are still on the battlefield. How does the military make these estimates? I don't know, but we're reporting what the military is disclosing. So there has been this pushback, effective pushback of ISIS in terms of territory control, people liberated, and frankly, foreign fighters no longer with us. And that has, this is complicated because ISIS and the radical Islamic terrorists are multidimensional. So they're kind of contracting and expanding at the same time. They're contracting in terms of territory they control, perhaps raw numbers, but they're expanding in ways like this. Again, Ms. Wright's piece in The New Yorker. In the latest online issue of ISIS propaganda outlet, they offer a new terror tactic. It calls on followers in the lands of disbelief to use sites such as Craigslist and eBay to lure victims to meetings where they can be seized as hostages. It suggests advertising jobs, property rent, online sales as a way to set up meetings in controlled spaces. The goal is not the traditional use of captives for ransom. It's to execute the hostages and taunt the enemy. She reports that Al-Qaeda is doing much the same per a video they released this month called A Lone Mujahid, or An Enemy by Itself, talking about these inspired, quote-unquote, lone wolf attacks that we know are not lone wolf attacks. So there is the possibility that as ISIS changed its tactics, they're kind of going back to where they started before they were able to make gains in territory and population under their dominion, and going back to inspiring more one-off terrorist attacks like we've seen in Paris and Brussels and Nice and Berlin and Madrid and now Manchester.
Well, this guy, Salman, sounded like he was working with his brothers, because they left for Libya April 18th and just got back on May 17th. And days later, committed this heinous act. And they brought with them 2 friends who are girls who became ISIS wives. They brought them with them to Libya. That's what Brian Ross had disclosed yesterday on ABC News. And the dad who, you heard from the sister, but the dad who was taken into custody in Libya, he denies that his son was a follower of ISIS. He said, Salman doesn't belong to any organization. The family's a bit confused because Salman doesn't have this ideology. He doesn't hold these beliefs. Yeah.
Well,
his 3 sons, my 3 sons, there you go. All 3 of them look like they were working together to plan this attack.
And it hasn't been disclosed exactly what the nature of their material contribution to the attack was or is alleged to have been. So we'll continue following the story.
But they released surveillance yesterday of Salman walking out of a shopping mall in Manchester with the backpack that they believe was used in the attack. And it still had the tags on it. So that was a few days before the attack. He went, they're piecing together when he bought this backpack. They showed him leaving the mall. It was him. He had a hood up too. Right. And then a few days later, constructed it. And they raided his house, and there was bomb-making materials in his house. The sophisticated kind.
So that certainly is an indication on that individual.
And there's 8 people in custody. One woman was taken into custody, but she's been released.
Right. And so we don't know the brother and the father in Libya, how they're materially connected other than by blood. But
and they had just visited them.
Right. And so this will manifest itself soon enough. The response to this, though, the political response, you know whose fault this is?
Whose?
Trump's.
Oh, of course.
Connecticut Senator
seriously?
Chris Murphy on CNN.
Are you saying that you believe the rhetoric of the president makes this country more vulnerable for a terrorist attack right now?
I am saying that. I'm saying that because the ability for ISIS to recruit people into its midst is dependent upon 2 narratives. One, that they are building a caliphate inside the Middle East that will grow and grow and grow, get on our side now before it's too late. Well, that narrative is less available to them today because we are shrinking the territory they control. But their second narrative is join us because there is a war on between the East and the West, between the Christian world and the Muslim world, and we've got to fight the West. We've got to fight the Christian world at every turn, and Trump feeds that narrative by banning Muslims banning Muslims from entering the United States.
Senator,
he feeds that narrative.
I will say, Senator, that during the Obama administration, and President Obama used far different rhetoric than President Trump did. There were ISIS-inspired attacks. There were San Bernardino. There was Orlando. There were far other things there, and he didn't use the language that President Trump is using. So why would one matter and the other not?
Well, I just explained it to you. The fact of the matter is that there are 2 narratives available
so he
to
just
them.
repeats himself after that, noting the difference in rhetorical approach between President Obama and Trump, and Chris Murphy just goes back to repeat the same thing, that Trump's rhetoric is making us more susceptible to a terrorist attack. Now,
nobody's buying that, are they? I mean, even some Democrats can't believe that.
Well, Senator Chris Murphy, these are the leading lights of the left. People like Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. What about the speech that Trump gave in Saudi Arabia, where that was certainly a change in or a texturing of tone on the issue? The speech that was received very well by Trump detractors, including Robert Gates, who knows probably a little bit more about this matter than does Chris Murphy, as well as Fareed Zakaria, CNN contributor as well. Chris Murphy responded to that.
You listened, I'm sure, to the president's address on Sunday in Saudi Arabia when he called Islam one of the great religions of the world. There was a dramatic shift in his rhetoric used, but your comments about his rhetoric specifically were after that.
Yeah, because it doesn't cancel out all of the terrible things that he said about the Muslim religion in the past. He's been very clear over and over to state that he believes that there is a war on between the United States and elements of the Muslim faith. So just because you don't include that in a speech that you give in a Muslim country doesn't cancel out the fact that you have said that about the Muslim faith over and over and over again. Those words are still available.
Yeah,
because of the Muslim ban that he proposed.
That's not what he said, though. I mean, that's in part what he's implying, but he said that there are elements within the Muslim faith that are at war with the West. Is that untrue?
That's true.
Yeah. So I just want that's a really important little segment there, a little bite from Chris Murphy, because it tells you what the left believes, or at least what they're purporting to believe, as they, search for ever new and exciting ways to attack Trump, no matter what he says and does. If Trump started to agree with them, they'd attack him for being a hypocrite. I mean, it's just endless. So this is why you can't worry about the whole bipartisan compromise, building bridges, and all the kindergarten rhetoric that you get from the big government press corps, because there is no bringing in to the realm of the sane Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Elements within Islam are at war with the West. That is something that Chris Murphy and Democrats like him reject. That is something that, to me,
is obvious.
Is axiomatic, right.
Right. And on an ancillary issue, if I was Theresa May, I'd consider having a Muslim ban, considering what just happened. We have to do something.
Phil on the Northwest side. Hey, Phil.
Yeah. Good morning. It's amazing. He talks about how this has to do with Trump's comments. Obama made wonderful comments for 8 years, and we must have never had a problem with any kind of Muslim terrorists for the whole double presidency of those 2 terms.
Right, exactly. Thanks for the call, Phil.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Hey, how would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware and software, and more importantly, give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency call, because they work hard to take preventative measures, keeping networks secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey experience, where everything is included: Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, unlimited remote and on-site support. They really are the best. So go to turnkeyit.pro. That's turnkey.pro. Go to turnkey.pro.
The performance, conduct, and sustainability of organizations are a direct result of leadership. A leader's impact can be profoundly good or bad. We've experienced the devastating impact of unethical, selfish, and corrupt leaders. We've also experienced the impact of good and caring leaders whose honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct have created great organizations and a legacy of goodwill. Our challenging times require courageous, values-driven leaders to step up to these challenges. My name is Rich Panico. I am the founder and CEO of Integrated Project Management Company, IPM. I am blessed to lead a wonderful family of talented and caring leaders. Join us as we strive to change the world, one project at a time.
Trust IPM, the consulting industry's leader at executing your critical initiatives. For almost 3 decades, IPM has planned and executed projects in the life sciences, healthcare, consumer, and industrial sectors with honesty and integrity. Visit IPMCinc.com. That's IPMCinc.com. Or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing mortgage? Then you need to do what I did and call David Hochberg. He's now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Juan, 23, foreman, income $40,000 a year, was nervous because his lease was expiring. Juan wanted to purchase a home and called David because he didn't have a down payment. David advised Juan to secure a gift from a family member for the down payment, which he obtained, and David helped him purchase a home. Now, if you're purchasing a home, you should work with the best, and the best in the mortgage business is Team Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. David and his team will honestly answer your questions, secure you a mortgage which best fits your needs at the lowest rate and closing costs of up to $1,000 less than others. Now, the first and only call you need to make it when securing a mortgage is to David Hochberg. Call him at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but guess what? He can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, NMLS 19186.
I'm Dana Lash with NRA Carry Guard. I carry my firearm every day. I pray I'll never be forced to use it. But if I do, I know NRA Carry Guard will have my back. I can choose up to $1 million in insurance-backed protection, plus a special attorney referral network to give me the representation I need. Learn more and sign up today at nracarry.com or call 1-866-NRA-1234 to become an NRA Carry Guard member today.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
We finally have a president unafraid to utter the words radical Islamic terrorism. We finally have a president unafraid to challenge Muslim nations to rid the earth of this horrific problem. We finally have a president willing to go to the Middle East and make the opening steps to bring about a Palestinian solution. It's too bad this president has to leave the country to actually get fair and unbiased news coverage. Stick with this station if you want to know the good, not just the bad or the ugly. AM 560, The Answer.
5:57. Let's check the roads this hour in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Hanover Park, there's a crash on Lake Street right at 390. Northbound I-65, traffic is stop and go from 93rd Avenue to near 30 Merrillville. There's a car fire blocking the left lane. Westbound 8094 has a delay from past Grant to Burr. Edens is clear. The Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. The Eisenhower, 34 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound still fine. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of Napa Auto Parts. With quality auto parts and more than 90 years of experience, Napa Auto Parts can help you keep just about anything on the road. So stop by your local Napa store and keep it running longer, stronger with Napa know-how. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with meteorologist Chris Morelli.
Today, clouds breaking for some sun, high 68. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 52. Friday, some sun, then turning cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 72. Saturday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 78. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 54 at O'Hare. The news, a service of NTB. Don't miss the NTB Super Sale. 72 hours of savings going on now through Memorial Day for oil, service, repairs, and low prices on top tire brands. Visit your neighborhood NTB. That's all you need. 5:59 in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Here are the stories we're following at this hour. Teachers at a Chicago charter school will not be going on strike. Educators at Passages Charter School on the north side reached a tentative deal with school management late last night. 5 are in custody after a man was shot by undercover officers in Aurora. The shooting victim and 2 other suspects are hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. A grand jury has formally indicted a Chicago man charged in the fatal shooting of a Cook County judge last month. Lawmakers at the Illinois House say they're looking at plans to raise $5.5 billion in taxes, but no one is saying when or if a vote may come on the Senate plan sent over by Illinois Democrats. Cubs over the Giants. Diamondbacks sweep out the White Sox with a win in Arizona. More Dan and Amy after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A minute of silence across England for the victims of Monday night's concert bombing that left 22 people dead. Britain's Queen is in Manchester visiting a children's hospital as dozens are still recovering from the terror attack. Police keep conducting raids, looking for anyone perhaps tied to the suicide bomber.
The police have confirmed that 8 suspects remain in custody and that progress is being made in the case.
That's Prime Minister Theresa May, who's upset over leaks of information by U.S. officials about the attacker and his bomb, and that's something she may discuss later with President Trump in Brussels, where Fox's Simon Owen is live.
Dave, the president here for a NATO meeting, a chance to press NATO allies to increase defence spending. But he began his day meeting with European Union President Donald Tusk. Tusk saying we agreed on many things, but perhaps not Russia.
And I am not 100% sure that we can say today, we means Mr. President and myself, that we have a common position, common opinion about Russia.
On the streets of Brussels, a less than warm welcome for the president. Thousands of people protesting his policies on immigration and the environment. The president also once described Brussels as a hellhole, Dave.
Simon, the voters are going to the polls in a Montana special election today, but there's a new issue for them. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, things came to a blows at Greg Gianforte's campaign headquarters when Ben Jacobs of The Guardian brought out his voice recorder and started asking him about the American Health Care Act and the latest Congressional Budget Office score.
We'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you
okay, have speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys.
Jacobs also heard saying you just body slammed me and broke my glasses. Dave.
And Rachel, he's charged with misdemeanor assault, the candidate. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's time to gear up for summer fun. The Ready to Ride sales event is here. Looking to ride the waves? Check out our selection of Sea-Doo watercraft. Want to tear up the trails? Shop our selection of Can-Am ATVs and side-by-sides. Or rev up for open road adventures with the latest Spyder Roadsters. Stop in now and save up to $3,500 on your ultimate warm weather adventure machines. Visit Maxim Power Sports in Merrillville. Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Summer involves a lot of driving, to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on HumX only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. MyPartsGarage.com is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory. Your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state, next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Right now, MyPartsGarage.com will price match your order, and yes, the shipping is still free. The last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find parts. The average driver in Chicago commutes at least 24 miles per day. People are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed and free shipping.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Text from Ann B. Davis's bowling ball.
Oh,
Perhaps, yeah, he's very
love
funny.
his wife too. Good.
Yeah, good peeps. They were on the trip to us, with us to Punta Cana. He texted that perhaps it was a bad idea for Greg Gianforte. He's the Republican candidate for Congress in Montana, today's special election for the seat vacated by Ryan Zinke, who became Trump's Interior Secretary. Perhaps it was a bad idea for Gianforte to hire Bobby the Brain Heenan as his campaign manager. And that is in reference to a rather unusual confrontation and resolution of confrontation between a candidate for Congress and a reporter from The Guardian on the night before an election.
And what you
we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the act
Speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hell out of here, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey,
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
You can call me Lex Luger.
I hope all members of Congress aren't that jittery when we ask them about the health care bill.
In his private
and the
sector
CBO.
business, Mr. Gianforte has an HR department to handle those personnel matters.
Okay.
Keep him separated from those who he gets a bit short with.
Well, in his defense, they claim this morning that the reporter, Jacobs from The Guardian, was forcing his recorder too close to his face, didn't like it. That's why he took him down. That he was the instigator.
Not
the
great.
reporter from The Guardian.
Not great spin. For more on this, a Republican who is currently in
Don't
the
make
House,
him mad.
in
Don't
the-
make him mad.
In the House majority, he is a gentle soul. He is a peaceful pluralist. He uses his words and his intellect, not his fists. And we'd like to keep him in the majority in the House, but it seems like the Republicans are making that a dicey prospect. He is Congressman Peter Roskam, Republican from Illinois 6th District out there in the Western Burbs. Peter, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Great to be with you this morning. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. And a rather unfortunate incident ahead of today's special election in Montana, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. Hey, if you're a member of or you're a candidate, you've got a lot more to lose than the media does. So be cool, lower the wattage. If you're uptight, walk away. I just don't get that at all. There's no explaining it and there's no defending it.
Yeah. Well, on to some serious matters about the House's work in general, particularly you on Ways and Means. Where do we stand with tax reform and translating what Trump proposed into policy?
Here's where we are. There's been the three of us have talked a lot over the past few months about the blueprint that the House has. So it's a good plan, and there's some controversial parts, but it's growth oriented and it's good stuff. There's been a commitment that's been made by the part of the House majority, the Senate majority, and the administration to ultimately introduce one piece of legislation. So what you're not going to see is you're not going to see a House version of actual text, a Senate version, and an administration version. This is all really good news because it forces us to work together, work out the differences and so forth, and to come up with an agenda and ultimately a plan that does a couple of things, that creates real growth in the economy, and this is something that the president campaigned on, and that is far simpler than what we have right now, deals with this problem of companies leaving, blocking out their manufacturing and so forth, and ultimately, I would argue, it's really important that we make it so that it's permanent. Those are sort of the parameters. Different ideas. We had the Secretary of the Treasury into the Ways and Means Committee yesterday for a hearing. He was weighing in on things that he likes, he doesn't like, and so forth. But that's all to say there's a lot of momentum and good direction, but we still have a long way to go, actually.
But just on the horizon, is at least the intention to get something done before the end of the year, perhaps even before the August recess?
Here's the thing. This is my prediction. This either happens in 2017, that is tax reform, or it's not going to happen, I think. You know, it doesn't get any better. We're basically, our tax code is an island that's dissolving underneath us, and we're still sure-footed enough to be able to jump to the next place that we need to be. But if we wait too much longer, if it gets into 2018 and this thing hasn't ripened to the point where, you know, we've got something really good, then it will get away from us, and it will have been a shame. So it's 2017. I'm not as comfortable making an August prediction. I think August is unlikely, but 2017, in my view, is the year.
So CBO score came out. They claimed that 23 million people will be without health care, and that would jump to 51 million would be uninsured by the year 2026. Is the CBO always accurate?
No, they're not always accurate. I mean, they were off wildly on Obamacare predictions. They were off wildly on the cost of what's known as Medicare Part D. Here's the larger point, though, and I think this is sort of the argument that gets lost. When you don't force people to do things, then they're not going to do things that they don't want to do. So the idea is people are not forced, they're not mandated, they're not punished by not getting coverage, and so some of them are going to make a decision not to have it. And I think this rhetoric of it being torn away from folks and so forth, it's a mischaracterization. But look, the hyperbole about the health care debate is reached really a new level. I mean, I've just not heard so much over-characterization. And the analogy is, think about how hyped up everybody was getting about what was going to be happening in Wisconsin when they were going to put conservative principles in. You know, the school buses were not going to run. Nurses were not going to show up. And, you know, one thing after another. But the conservatives in Wisconsin hung in there. They said, you know, we think these good things are going to be happening. They implemented these things, and Wisconsin's doing really well today. So the drama will settle out. We've just got to be consistent and move forward and enact these good policies, because the status quo, again, Obamacare, what a disaster. Health and Human Services just published data that was collected during the Obama administration, and it's become clear that health care premiums have doubled since 2013. So nobody's doing well under the status quo.
You're 105% increase. 105% increase in 4 years since 2013. That's the HHS report that you're referring to, Congressman Roskam, and it's worth reminding people as part of the pushback of, you know, what has happened over the last 4 years as the D.C. press corps wants to focus them on just what's happening right now. It's very much like what they do at the state level in Chicago and Springfield, which is to say the state just was incorporated and our problems just started when Rauner was elected and inaugurated in 2015. We had no problems till then. That's kind of the same game they're playing with healthcare.
Yeah, for sure. And now Humana and Aetna have both announced that they're out of the individual market in 2018. But 3 weeks ago, the state of Iowa announced that over 90 of their counties have no insurer in the individual market. If you're in my congressional district, if you're living in the 6th district and you're in Lake or McHenry County, you only have one insurance company that's offering a product in the individual market. So this is in a death spiral. And, you know, you can do one of two things. You can let it crash, which ironically, the designers, the architects, I would argue, of the Affordable Care Act, they designed a system that was not to last. They designed a system that would crash into a single-payer system. But the strategic flaw that they made when they were designing it, is it wouldn't even last long enough to get into a single-payer system. And we've got an unbelievable opportunity to reclaim this, shift the momentum, and move it back into a more patient-oriented health plan. And that's where we're basically at a tipping point.
But in response to the CBO numbers yesterday, Mark Meadows, your colleague who heads up the Freedom Caucus in the House, suggested he may be willing to add more money in for persons with pre-existing conditions for their coverage. Is there a concern in the House that you're going to have some anxiety-ridden senators, Republican senators, wet themselves and scuttle this replace?
Look, here's what we can't do. We cannot allow a good bill to be just, you know, in the quicksand of the U.S. Senate. There's no excuses. There's plenty of Republican senators who've got to get their heads together and get their acts together and come up with a plan. And for God bless them, but, the number of senators who are professionals at telling you what they won't do. They basically say, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that. Well, that's all fine and well and good. What are you for? What's your proposal? How do you mitigate against this disaster in light of a conservative mandate, a party that has articulated its opposition to Obamacare and its proposal to move into a patient-centered healthcare model? What is your proposal?
And excuse not to interrupt, but and by what date? Because isn't it June 21st that insurance companies have to present their 2018 rates and benefits?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the date certain. I take it at face value if you're telling me that. But to your point, that there's a shelf life to this.
Yes.
And and you know how this works. You can over-contemplate something, and there's nobody here that's saying be cavalier about it or don't read bills and take time. And the House bill is not orthodoxy, and if there's changes that need to be made, great. Then make the changes, make the proposals, come up with enough votes in the Senate, and get it out, and let's get about this. But I think most people that I represent say, look, get something done, get these premiums so that they're under control, keep the safety net in terms of pre-existing conditions and these things where we've had a national consensus on it, but enough of the hand-wringing, start moving stuff.
So President Obama, his big promise was if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Clearly, that was not true. What is President Trump's big promise?
Well, I think he said a couple of things, and this is part of the way that President Trump communicates. But one of the things that I think what he was really trying to say is we got to get these costs down, and the subtext of all that is you lower premiums and you lower deductibles, and you're going to make it more available to more people. And I think, look, there's a general understanding. We all want people to have access to coverage. The question is, how do you do it? And do you do it by a government mandate that punishes people and says if you don't take this product, then you're going to get fined by the Internal Revenue Service? No, that hasn't worked. We propose something that's different. We propose, hey, let's make sure that the marketplace creates a product that people want and that they've got the flexibility to meet the needs of their own families. And if we do that, it creates a lot more stability, and then we can get along to deal with some of these other significant challenges.
And now on the spend side, Trump has introduced a budget that is, you're talking about hyperbole on healthcare, that has been called an act of cruelty by Hillary Clinton, that one Philadelphia bishop called ethnic cleansing of black and brown people. Where do you stand on the broad outlines of what the administration proposed on the spend side?
So the administration is trying to get us into the right direction. Here's part of the challenge of the administration's proposal. You've taken Medicare essentially off the table. Medicare, as we know, is really where the money is, and that's based on all the boomers retiring, 10,000 boomers every 24 hours for the next 17 years? So to take that off the table in terms of reforms and changes that need to be made leaves a lot less flexibility. So everybody's looking at it. I've got some individual concerns, proposals that really cut Great Lakes cleanup funding, I don't think is the sharpest move. But that said, they're trying to make a proposal that's commitment with a philosophy of balancing and not spending money. But when it all comes down to it, we've got to get these debt questions under control. And I'll tell you this, we know it better than anybody here in Illinois because of what we're living through. And the notion of avoiding debt, putting it off, not dealing with it, or adding to it in a cavalier way, it just obviously doesn't end well. So the country doesn't. The country cannot afford to make the mistakes that Illinois has made.
And then quickly, before we let you go, the IRS commissioner, I'm going to ask you about it. What's the status of Mr. Koskinen, and what has the administration said to the letter you sent saying, let's find somebody else?
We haven't heard anything. So this is all within, there's only two people who are at the Internal Revenue Service that serve as at the pleasure of the president. In other words, they're political appointees. One is John Koskinen, and one is the general counsel, whoever that is. Those are the only two political appointees. So President Trump has the full authority to remove the IRS commissioner. We've asked him to do it. So far, he's not responded to the Ways and Means Committee on that request.
All right. He is Congressman Peter Roskam, Republican from the 6th District in the Western Burbs. Peter, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up, more songs by Rob Quist. He's the Democratic challenger to our friend Gianforte.
He does have a melodious voice. He can write a ditty, but when it comes to physical confrontations, when it comes to handling yourself with a Guardian reporter, I'll give the nod to Gianforte.
Forecast for today. Clouds breaking for some sunshine. Finally, the sun is back. A high today of 68 degrees. Tonight, cloudy, a low of 52. And for Friday, we're going to have some sun, then clouds with a thunderstorm late in the afternoon, a high of 72 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. We have delays in northwest Indiana on northbound I-65. It's stop and go from 101st Avenue to US 30 after a car fire. Westbound Indiana Toll Road, we have delays due to road work from the Portage Toll Plaza to the Travel Plaza. And westbound 8094, road work delays from past Grant to before Klein Avenue. The Edens is 22 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 27 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. The Eisenhower, 48 minutes now from Thorndale to downtown, outbound 30. The Stevenson, 57 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, I-80 to the merge. The Bishop, 421. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, the Bolingbrook Golf Club, it is the location, haven't you heard, of our annual golf outing this year, sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford. But there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. The place is gorgeous. So you should celebrate Independence Day. That's right, the 4th of July. They'll have food, fun, and fireworks. Find out all the details about their 4th of July celebration at BolingbrookGolfClub.com. That's BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 15-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223. Small business owners get free access to the biggest business networking event of the year. Get to the Small Business Expo, featuring more than 25 free business workshops, panel discussions, speed networking sessions, business card showcase, and over 100 exhibits. Gain leads and network with business experts including Vistaprint, Bank of America, Progressive, and Zip Local. There's something for everyone at the Small Business Expo, the largest and most anticipated business-to-business networking event, trade show, and conference for business owners, entrepreneurs, and decision makers. Serious about your business? This expo is a must-attend event. Startups and business owners get free admission to educational workshops covering online and social media marketing, employee benefit plans, credit and financing, strategies for increasing revenue and team productivity, mentoring, cloud technologies, retirement plans, and more. Don't miss the Chicago Small Business Expo at the UIC Forum on Thursday, June 1st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Register for free today at thesmallbusinessexpo.com. That's thesmallbusinessexpo.com.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, a group of nasty 60 women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay scrolled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Rob Quist, this is the Democrat candidate for that Montana congressional seat, special election today.
Songwriter and singer.
Yeah,
Can you turn it up, Justin? What's the name? Blue Jean Love Affair is this one.
Oh,
He's
sure.
good. The last one was 45 caliber.
45 Caliber Man. That's a great country song title, 45 Caliber Man, I'll tell you that.
He's talented.
I tell you, and he's 69 years old now, so if his voice is still this good at 69, I'm really impressed. So I hope he gets back on the circuit after he loses today. But
yeah, he might. Well,
yeah, we'll see. But
they're saying that his Republican challenger should have been up 20 points by now, but he's not.
What is he? Does he have a little bit of Dwight Yoakam? It's not so twangy, but
he sounds like a star of that CMT show. Come on, Nashville. Sounds like Dirk on Nashville. But you don't watch that show, do you? No.
Okay, updating the story that we talked about at some length yesterday, this tragic story of a Naperville North high school student who committed suicide after being detained by school officials and the school resource officer, local police officer, Naperville police officer, for allegedly having a video recording of a sexual encounter with another 16-year-old student, the girl complaining about that and showing that video recording to friends, and it turned out there was no video recording. It was just an audio recording.
And in the state of Illinois, an audio recording is not child pornography. The family has lawyered up, and here's attorney Terry Eckel.
Corey had a consensual sexual relationship with a girl. They began to interrogate him and accuse him of having child pornography on his phone.
Which Eckel went on to say that having just an audio recording, again, is not child pornography.
Right. Now, and by the way, they've filed suit, the family has, against both Naperville North and the Naperville Police. Both are named in the lawsuit filed by Corey Walgren's family. And, I mean, that we ran through the questions yesterday. Number one, by the way, just because the police officer threatened him with things that are untrue, the police are allowed to lie to suspects.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
but
of
they
course.
can't.
Of
Can they
course.
detain you, though, without an attorney or your parents being present?
The issue is Illinois law, custodial detainment requires an immediate call to a parent, and that doesn't seem to have happened in this case.
Well, they said they called the home, nobody picked up. They called the dad, nobody picked up. Then they called the mom. They had her on speakerphone, but she's like, what's going on? It was a lot for her to process. So she's a nurse, so she got in her car and she said, it'll take me about an hour to get there. But by the time she got to the school, he was gone.
So that's an area of problem,
Right.
though. That timeline is going to have to be detailed with great specificity. And then the other problem is, how does he walk out of the school?
Walked out unnoticed.
While mom is en route. They detained him, and then they just opened the school doors and said, stay or leave. I mean, effectively, whether they said it explicitly or not, that's effectively what they did after making those threats that obviously the young man took as virtually ending his life, registered sex offender, all of these things. And then he goes and throws himself off a parking deck in downtown Naperville.
Without any justification, literally threatened him and scared him to the point where this fine young man thought his life was over, and he went and killed himself.
I'm glad the family's filing a lawsuit so that this doesn't happen to another family.
Yeah, I think the approach that was taken by both the school and the police officer in this case are terribly problematic on a number of issues. And I know it's not about the money; it's about a sense of justice. And we had when we talked about this yesterday, we had a caller whose son committed suicide this past December, who now has a foundation where he's educating educators and I guess school resource officers like this officer that was in Naperville North to better handle situations like these when they arise so that it doesn't go so awry. I mean, it's just an unbelievable turn of events. There were so many mistakes made.
And it happened so fast.
To go from that point to that young man's death.
I mean, the night
just
before
terrible.
they were talking about what college he's going to be attending, University of Iowa or University of Minnesota. And then, less than 24 hours later, their son's gone. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Leftist luminary Cory Booker thinks the Soviet Union still exists. We'll ask Ambassador John Bolton if it does at 6:36.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 52 degrees, cloudy skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the lifetime Advantage warranty. House Republican health care bill would cause about 23 million people to lose health insurance coverage by 2026. That's what a new report from the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says. This Republican senator disputes the Congressional Budget Office part of that report.
It's a guess from CBO. They base their guess on if people aren't mandated to buy coverage by the federal government, they won't buy coverage. I don't agree with that premise. I do think if you can get the prices down, most people want to have insurance.
Oklahoma Senator James Langford, the report also says high premiums will be tamed and the budget deficit will drop under the bill significantly. The bill to repeal and replace Obamacare narrowly passed the House and faces an uncertain future in the Senate. President Donald Trump meeting with NATO leaders today as he continues his first international trip as president. The investigation into Monday's deadly attack in Manchester, England continues following more arrests and searches in that country.
We currently have 8 people in custody in relation to Monday's attack, and we are now carrying out associated searches in relation to those arrests at a number of addresses.
Chief Constable of the Greater Manchester Police Department, Ian Hopkins, updating reporters on the process of that investigation. A U.S. House candidate in today's special election in Montana is now charged with misdemeanor assault after allegedly body slamming a reporter. Guardian reporter Ben Jacobs says the Republican candidate, Greg Gianforte, attacked him at his campaign headquarters yesterday evening. Teachers at a Chicago charter school will not be going on strike. Educators at Passages Charter School on the north side reached a tentative deal with school management late last night. One woman is dead, a man wounded following a road rage shooting in Schiller Park. Authorities say both victims were found shot yesterday in a vehicle that had crashed into a tree on Lawrence Avenue. The woman died at the scene while the man was hospitalized. Lawmakers in the Illinois House say they're looking to raise $5.5 billion in taxes, but no one is saying when or if there will be a vote on that plan. Democrats in the House reviewing a plan passed only by Democrats in the Senate. On Tuesday, lawmakers are supposed to have a budget in less than a week. Cubs over the Giants at Wrigley Field, 5-4, while the Diamondbacks swept out the Sox with an 8-6 win in Arizona. The news, a service of Dove Men Plus Care. Did you hear that 91% of guys that use Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant recommend it? Dove Men Plus Care users say they don't know how it works, but it gets the job done. Sounds good. Pick up some new Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant for yourself at your local retailer. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Metra's 96% on-time dependability helps you get to work on time no matter what's happening on the roads. Find the station nearest you at metrorail.com.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-4098. Even better, call right now and you can get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
6:36. The news, the service of Staples. When it's time for help with your new technology, go to Staples with a full range of tech services to help your business, from data recovery to virus protection. Now get $50 off PC diagnostic and repair service. Ends 5/27. Service does not include parts. Staples, it's pro time. Let's get an update on the roads. The latest information from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic has gotten heavier on 8094 westbound. It's stop and go from Grant to before Klein Avenue due to the ongoing construction there. The Edens Expressway is running 24 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 20. Eastbound Spur now a little slow past Waukegan Road. The Kennedy, 36 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. The Eisenhower's 50 minutes from Thorndale to Post Office, outbound 32 minutes. Stevenson inbound, crash before 83 on the right shoulder, and delays resume around Harlem. 57 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 44 from the Tri-State. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. Inbound Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 28 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 421, northbound Tri-State. Heavy from Harlem to the Mylong Bridge, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue. The other tollways for now are okay. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Clouds are expected to break for some sunshine with a high of 68. Currently 54. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Financial Planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k specialist. Heard Saturday mornings at 7 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Reactions to the Manchester bombing abound. This is Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat, explaining how Trump is causing terrorism, is making us more susceptible to terrorist attacks based on his rhetoric. Even his speech in Saudi Arabia that was well received by Trump detractors like Fareed Zakaria, like former CIA Director Bob Gates, even that does not assuage the concerns that one Senator Chris Murphy has.
You listened, I'm sure, to the president's address on Sunday in Saudi Arabia when he called Islam one of the great religions of the world. There was a dramatic shift in his rhetoric used, but your comments about his rhetoric specifically were after that.
Yeah, because it doesn't cancel out all of the terrible things that he said about the Muslim religion in the past. He's been very clear over and over to state that he believes that there is a war on between the United States and elements of the Muslim faith. So just because you don't include that in a speech that you give in a Muslim country doesn't cancel out the fact that you have said that about the Muslim faith over and over and over again. Those words are still available.
Wow. Isn't that what's going on here?
Yeah, the part of what he said where he suggested that the problem with Trump's rhetoric is he has said there is a war being perpetrated by elements within Islam against the West. Is that not happening?
That's happening.
David Harsanyi has a really interesting piece in The Federalist, which opens with, it's not the job of Western leaders to define what Islam is or isn't. It's their job to talk honestly about what's happening. He points out what we've pointed out, and many have, that leaders in Western nations have gone out of their way to craft rhetoric and circumvent Islam completely when speaking about terrorism. We're hooked on platitudes such as man-caused disaster and so on, treating terrorism as some kind of spontaneous criminal event rather than a tactic used predominantly by one ideology. This was the singer Morrissey's reaction who was Manchester-born, to the bombing, and to Theresa May and Sadiq Khan's reactions to the bombing, talking about extremists. An extreme what? An extreme rabbit? The author and columnist Brendan O'Neill, after the terror, the platitudes and the hashtags and the candlelight vigils, and they always have the same message: be unified, feel love, don't give in to hate. The banalities roll off the national tongue, vapidity abounds, a shallow fetishization of togetherness takes place of any articulation of what we should be together for and against.
I mean, nothing beats jihadists like a Mylar balloon and some flowers.
There you go.
Really, I mean, has been our response.
For more on this topic, including the developments and the criminal and national security investigation into the Manchester bombing, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and American Enterprise Institute scholar, John Bolton. Ambassador Bolton, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Well, good morning. Glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
And so as to the response, not just from law enforcement, going after those that have allegedly provided material support to the bomber, including relatives, but the kind of the geopolitical response from Western leaders that David Harsanyi is talking about and that Chris Murphy exemplifies. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a continuing problem, and I think what Senator Murphy said is just obtuse at best. I mean, even he says that Trump is not arguing for a war against Islam, but against elements of the Islamic faith that are committing acts of terrorism. And I think that is an accurate description of what Trump and many other people believe, including, let's be clear, people like King Abdullah of Jordan, who is not simply the Muslim king of a Muslim country. He is a descendant of the Sharifs of the Hijaz, the keepers of Mecca and Medina, the holy cities. Abdullah has said over and over again, this is a civil war within Islam. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a good description between the radicals and those who don't espouse this kind of violence and hatred. So maybe the senators should talk to King Abdullah and get a little schooling.
Well, what do you think they should do, though, the government in the UK? Because this guy, Salman Abedi, went to Libya on April 18th, came back on May 17th, and less than a week later, he committed this atrocity. I mean, why can't they stop people who go to Libya, or they're more scrutinized or something when they try and return?
Well, I think we've got to look at things exactly like that. Look, part of the problem here is treating terrorism as if it's strictly a law enforcement matter, rather than what I think the reality is, that the terrorists are conducting a war against those in Islam who disagree with them and against Western civilization generally. And I think we're all very protective of our civil liberties. We don't want interference in our daily lives unnecessarily. So, but real purpose of our efforts here should not be to find the criminals after the terrorist attack takes place. It's to prevent the terrorist attacks in the first place. And if you understand this to be a war being waged against us rather than the equivalent of knocking off the corner grocery store, then I think you can see that different tactics are warranted than you would have in a normal police investigation. And I think it's worth having a national discussion about this. This is not an effort to persecute a religion or to minimize civil liberties. It's to deal with an enemy threat against our very civilization. And I think the fact that time and time again we hear the people who are the terrorist attackers themselves have been on the police radar screen, or the police side before, but didn't do anything about it. That's something. And from a safety position.
Yep. Oh, I think we've got a connection problem. Ambassador Bolton? Oh, I think, we got a connection problem. We'll see if we can get him back. But, the other question about this, just in general terms beyond Manchester, is ISIS and the gaining in strength, or is it weakening? And what does the Manchester bombing represent? A strengthening or weakening of ISIS? And this well-written piece by Robin Wright in The New Yorker addresses this. She makes the point that according to State Department officials that she spoke with, since the military campaign that started last October against ISIS in Syria and Iraq, it has lost 2/3 of the territory it controlled in Iraq as of 2014 and half the territory it controlled in Syria. And so territorially, ISIS is weakening. But does that mean it's weakening overall? I think we have Ambassador Bolton back. Ambassador, are you with us?
Yes. Sorry about that.
No problem. I was just referring to this New Yorker piece by Robin Wright, and she explores the question, does the Manchester bombing show the Islamic State's strength or weakness? And she recounts that how the territory under ISIS control has dramatically shrunk in both Iraq and Syria, but that it doesn't necessarily mean that we're less susceptible to terrorist attacks like we saw in Manchester. So it's kind of expanding while it's contracting in a sense.
Well, I think it's a complex interaction. I mean, number one, I think a lot of the key ISIS leaders and officers and trainers have escaped already from the territory in Iraq and Syria that the so-called caliphate held. I think they've gone to places like Libya, Yemen, and other places that are essentially anarchic, where the national governments have ceased to function. But I do think that it remains a critical objective to destroy what remains of the caliphate, because as long as they hold any substantial territory, it does give them a big advantage in recruiting and training and deploying terrorists. It's just like with Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan before 9/11. So the fact that you're now seeing these terrorist attacks in Europe, and I hope not, but we should expect attempts at terrorist attacks in the United States, show what ISIS has already achieved in terms of getting people in place in Western Europe, in the United States, to implement these attacks at whatever they believe to be the right time.
Now, today, President Trump meets with European and NATO leaders. Is he going to have some splaining to do because he wanted to get out of NATO and the G? Is that possible?
Well, I think he's made it very clear he thinks NATO is an important alliance, and there's reporting out of Europe this morning that if it turns out to be true, France and Germany have dropped their opposition to NATO taking a more formal role against ISIS. As we were just discussing, I think this would be a big plus to have NATO in, along with the U.S. and our Arab and Kurdish partners. So if in fact at the meeting that the president will attend in Brussels at NATO headquarters does end up with this result, he'll walk away from this meeting with a pretty significant victory.
Every day we get New York Times and Washington Post headlines like the one yesterday. Top Russian officials discuss how to influence Trump aides last summer. The Russian collusion story that the media, the D.C. press corps, is in a feeding frenzy over. Now, if you go down to the fifth graph in that story, you realize there's nothing new here except the headline, kind of trying to come at the same story that is lacking in evidence with all kinds of overheated headlines and lead graphs that ultimately, if you read the story, they have nothing new and they can't corroborate any of the allegations that are made. Former Obama CIA director was on with Charlie Rose yesterday, and he said, the Russian collusion matter, the Obama administration, they knew about it. These concerns, per John Brennan's testimony the other day, were raised, and they did nothing about it. So how concerned should we be if John Brennan expressed enough concern to send it over to the FBI, but the Obama administration didn't see enough concern to act?
Well, I'm still waiting for the evidence of this so-called collusion. I mean, I don't think any American thinks that there's that the idea of foreign influence in our elections is anything we can accept. I think everybody, every sensible person would reject that and say we should take whatever steps we can to prevent it from happening. I just like to see some evidence here that it actually happened or that there were serious efforts to do this. There's, as yet, by the testimony of Democratic senators, former intelligence officials, no evidence of collusion. And, you know, in Washington, where everything leaks in a fairly short period of time, if they had evidence, you can bet we'd have read about it in the self-same Washington Post and New York Times. So I think, you know, the Trump administration needs to do a better job of explaining the lack of this evidence. But I hope the American people are beginning to say, look, we're prepared to accept the facts wherever an investigation may take us, but are there any facts here at all?
He is former U.S. Ambassador at the UN, John Bolton, an American Enterprise Institute scholar. Ambassador Bolton, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Coming up next, is it time for the story of the day? Or no? Oh, no. Oh, Dan just gave me that. Oh, no. Not now.
We got to stretch that out.
Oh, it's a story about a penile implant?
Transplant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very delicate procedure. Need more time.
Don't need a jittery surgeon on that one. Forecast for today's clouds finally breaking for some sunshine, a high of 68 degrees. On Friday, some sun, then clouds with a thunderstorm late in the afternoon, a high of 72. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. 8094 westbound. It's bumper to bumper now all the way from I-65 before Klein Avenue due to the ongoing construction. The Edens Expressway is 25 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. The Kennedy, 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34. The Eisenhower. It's now 1 hour from Thorndale to downtown and 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 35 to Thorndale. Northbound I-55 is bottled up from Weber to be 483 with a crash on the right shoulder. And more delays kick in at Harlem. It is an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 47 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. Ryan, 31 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State now very heavy. Harlem to the Hinsdale Oasis, from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs, GM Trim Staff in Singapore. Facebook rolling out a fundraising tool for users. A new concept in shoe departments at Macy's. Those stories next. Are you being intimidated by the IRS? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who've helped thousands of people with problems just like yours, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. If you are an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS, you can turn to them for help. Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns? Let Rapid Resolution Tax Group intervene for you. They're accredited with and A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group at 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. General Motors slashing its international headquarters staff in Singapore to cut expenses in unprofitable markets. Facebook making it easier for its users to raise money for education, medical expenses, or other needs. The new Facebook tool, similar to such fundraising models as GoFundMe, has been beta tested. Among today's economic developments, Freddie Mac releasing weekly mortgage rates and the Labor Department reporting on weekly jobless claims. Macy's says it's revising its shoe departments with self-service, where customers bypass sales associates and try on shoes at their own pace. Macy's says tests in California and the Southwest produce sales in excess of traditional shoe departments. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Did you know
40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about Balance of Nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
I'm a big supporter of the product. 2 winters ago, I had, between November and March, I had 5 head colds, and each time it was like a 2-week ordeal. Last winter, with your product, I didn't have a single one.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code
Hey, did you
Chicago.
know that the cell phone you're holding right now is likely supporting the liberal agenda of Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders? It's true. Most of the big cell phone companies contribute to the pro-abortion agenda, gun control, and open borders. That's why you should use that cell phone in your hand and call 1-800-A-PATRIOT to switch to Patriot Mobile, the nation's only conservative cell phone company. Patriot Mobile offers the same great nationwide coverage you're used to, the newest cell phones, and they'll even buy out your current contract with credits up to $500 per line or $1,500 per account. And when you switch to Patriot Mobile, they'll donate up to 5% of their monthly proceeds to the conservative cause of your choice at no extra cost to you. You can bring your number and your phone or get new ones. Call 1-800-A-PATRIOT right now to get a plan and device that fits your needs, or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe. Use promo code Joe and they'll waive the activation fee. 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com/Joe. Promo code Joe.
Stop the runaround. Continental Audi of Naperville puts you in the driver's seat with straight talk and no hassle. Plus, we offer maintenance, valet service, and VIP loyalty rewards after the sale. It's the Continental difference. Right now, lease a new Audi A4 Quattro Premium Sedan for $419 a month, or lease the incredible Audi A6 for $499 a month. Continental Audi of Naperville has a large selection, including more than 300 new and pre-driven vehicles ready to drive. Plus, qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on certified Audis. Drive an Audi and feel the difference in your driving enjoyment. Drive an Audi from Continental and you'll know the difference an exceptional dealership can make. Experience the Continental Audi difference, ContinentalAudi.com.
36 monthlies, $35.44 due at Sunday. Includes first month payment, no security tax, extra. Leasing responsible for 25 cents over 30,000 miles and excessive wear and tear. Subject to credit approval through Audi Financial Services.
Listen to what Dave Ryan says about Andro 400.
Andro 400, I really love it. It's amazing to me that I feel so good. I've lost 50 pounds. I was a size 38 waist. I've gone down to a 32 waist. My mood has changed. I don't get stressed out. It gave me so much more energy to walk, energy to play sports. Everything is starting to work again, and feels like I'm 25. My wife is happy. I'm so happy. I'm just a completely different man. I'm taking this stuff to the grave with me.
Men, have you lost energy and gained belly fat? Are you feeling stressed out? Fight back with Andro 400, the safe, natural, and inexpensive way to increase your testosterone. For over a decade, Andro 400 has helped men lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel 20 years younger. Go to andro400.com. andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, if you travel, which many of us will this upcoming weekend and throughout the summer, there's some changes. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
52 degrees outside. A grand jury indicts a man in the fatal shooting of a judge. Chicago schools to borrow $900 million. Complete look at weather after Fox News and WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A memorial of flowers and tributes keeps growing in Manchester, England, while police keep probing Monday night's concert bombing. 8 people are now in custody.
And we are now carrying out associated searches in relation to those arrests at a number of addresses.
Chief Police Constable Ian Hopkins, Britain's Queen, visited wounded kids at a children's hospital. Dozens were injured in the terror attack that left 22 dead. And British officials are upset about U.S. leaks of information on the suicide bomber and his device.
I will make clear to President Trump that intelligence that is shared between our law enforcement agencies must remain secure.
She'll do that at a gathering of our NATO allies in Brussels, where Fox's Simon Owen is live. And we've lost our connection with Simon Owen in Brussels as the president continues to hold talks with different EU leaders. He just met with the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, celebrating what he called an incredible victory. And one of the EU presidents, after meeting with President Trump this morning, Donald Tusk, says he's not sure European and American officials share a common position on Russia. Voters will pick a new congressman today in Montana, and one of the candidates is mired in controversy.
Get the hell out of here!
That's Republican Greg Gianforte, now charged with misdemeanor assault.
The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian? Yes, and you just broke my process.
Guardian reporter Ben Jacobs says Gianforte body slammed him as he tried to ask questions last night. Gianforte claims Jacobs shoved a recorder in his face, then Jacobs grabbed Gianforte's wrist, and they ended up on the ground.
The Democratic Congressional Committee not wasting an opportunity here, jumping on it, releasing Facebook ads calling on Gianforte to drop out of the race now. Already, 3 of Montana's major newspapers are withdrawing their endorsement of Gianforte.
Well, that's Fox's Griff Jenkins. The polls open in an hour. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
"52 degrees in Chicago. We have mostly cloudy skies at this hour. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage Warranty. Teachers at a Chicago charter school will not be going on strike. Educators at Passages Charter School on the north side reached a tentative deal with school management. One woman is dead, another man wounded following a possible road rage shooting in Schiller Park. Both victims were found shot yesterday in a vehicle that had crashed into a tree on West Lawrence Avenue. The city of Chicago has new zoning rules for gun ranges after a city council vote. AM 560's David Stewart was there.
The City Council approved the new zoning regulations on gun ranges after the earlier laws were struck down by the courts as conflicting with the Second Amendment. Alderman Ned Burke said it's not really a relaxation of city rules because the court wiped those rules off the books.
This ordinance imposes zoning and operating restrictions in response to the mandate of the federal court, right up to the line that was drawn in the sand by the federal court.
The changes expand the areas where shooting ranges can be located, set requirements for operators and employees, and now also would allow teenagers to enter a gun range. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
The family of a Naperville North high school student who committed suicide in January is suing the school and the city's police department. The lawsuit filed yesterday accuses both defendants of breaking the law by interrogating 16-year-old Corey Walgren without notifying his parents first. Anthony Rizzo homered twice. Cubs over the Giants at Wrigley Field, 5-4. Diamondbacks sweep out the White Sox in Arizona with an 8-6 win. Northwestern's women's golf team fell to Arizona State. The final round of match play at the NCAA Championships at Rich Harvest Farms. The second-place finish by Northwestern is best in program history. The news service of Staples. When it's time for help with your new technology, go to Staples. Staples has a full range of tech services to help your business, from data recovery to virus protection. Now get $50 off PC diagnostic and repair service. Ends 5/27. Service does not include parts. Staples, it's pro time. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to gear up for summer fun. The Ready to Ride sales event is here. Looking to ride the waves? Check out our selection of Sea-Doo watercraft. Want to tear up the trails? Shop our selection of Can-Am ATVs and side-by-sides. Or rev up for open road adventures with the latest Spyder Roadsters. Stop in now and save up to $3,500 on your ultimate warm weather adventure machines. Visit Nielsen Enterprises in Lake Villa. Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Summer involves a lot of driving, to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on Hum X only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
7:06. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start around Church Street. It's 31 minutes from Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 26. The Kennedy, now 41 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 17 from Montrose, 16 in the Express. Outbound 34 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower, 1 hour from Thorndale to downtown and 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 45 to Thorndale. Northbound I-55 has delays from Weber to before 83 with a crash on the right shoulder. And it's heavy Harlem much of the rest of the way to Lakeshore Drive. It's an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to the drive. 49 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 40 to 355. Ryan, 31 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound 390 at Gary, there's a crash in the left lane. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go Harlem to the Hinsdale Oasis. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue and the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. Northbound Veterans Memorial slows 63rd to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to Roosevelt, Lake to 290, 8094 westbound. Stop and go Broadway to before Klein. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte at AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center and meteorologist Chris Morelli.
Today, clouds breaking for some sun, high 68. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 52. Friday, some sun, then turning cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 72. Saturday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 78. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
53 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. Breaking news as it happens and continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
More security theater at the airports. Holman Jenkins, a piece in the Wall Street Journal, get ready to unpack for airport security. Changes are coming to airport security checkpoints. TSA wants you to declutter your bags.
Good
Amy.
luck. Oh my God, I am the lightest packer in the world.
You
I
almost-
would win an award every time.
When we were checking in to leave for Punta Cana, there was almost a David Dow incident with the ticketing agent.
Well, she wanted to check my bag, and I said, it is a carry-on bag for a reason. I am going to carry it onto the plane. That bag has been around the world. I've had that bag since 1991. And literally, it has been to every country that I've been to.
Why wouldn't she let you take it as a carry-on?
I don't know. Because she said, well, your company already paid for a check bag. And I said, I want to carry it. I want to keep it with me. Because one time.
Ma'am, calm down.
Ma'am?
Ma'am, please.
Is there an incident here? Is there a problem? Ma'am, this is our country is going through a very tough time.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I went to Italy once with John Garcia and my friend Lissa and my friend Lemon. Never.
Name dropper.
Yeah, I'm a total name dropper. And I bring up John Garcia because I had to wear his clothes for a week because I checked that carry-on bag, never saw it the entire time.
Fortunately, he
For
is
the whole
also
week.
a size 0.
Well, I had to stuff socks in his shoes so that I could wear his gym shoes. I mean, I was so cheap back then, I didn't want to, or frugal, excuse me. I didn't want to buy shoes. I'm like, oh, my bag will show up tomorrow. And so I wore gym shoes and his clothes for a week. Is that too soon? Too much?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like to check my bag. I keep it with me and I pack what I can carry, people.
Well, then you're going to be in for heap of big fun at the security checkpoint because new procedures, including requiring all food or electronics larger than cell phones to be placed in bins separately.
Oh, the gray bins.
You're going to have
Those things are so dirty.
You could have a dozen bins. Those are still being tested. Changes not yet finalized. Decisions are going to be made in the first few weeks. They're doing a testing at small airports like Colorado Springs, Boise, Lubbock, Texas, and others. Many have been confused by unusual procedures, writes Holman Jenkins in his column/report. And listen to this. In Kansas City, Missouri, in early May, screeners forced passengers to remove all paper from bags down to notepads. All paper.
Wow, paper.
That test didn't go well, imagine, and was halted after a few days. It has to be efficient to be effective, said assistant administrator for security operations at FAA. Blah blah blah. So the TSA figures that lines won't lengthen because the total time at the checkpoint will be the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, more people are taking carry-on bags and stuffing them to the max because they don't want to pay to have their bag checked. And I think that takes up a lot of time at TSA checkpoints because they have to look through, the bag more thoroughly because there's more stuff there.
Right. Although the TSA X-rays display color items in bags by their density. So most stuff is in orange, blue, and turquoise. For more dense metal shows up as black. And the TSA demo model of explosives hidden inside laptop computers. So that was the fear. That's the separate bin for your laptops because of the fear they identified through their modeling. Okay, fine. But the suggestion by TSA is that with the uncluttered bag, meaning this other stuff out, shapes are easier to identify. Even if the cluttered bag doesn't get pulled out for manual checking, it takes the screener more time to study the image. So they're proposing the uncluttered bag. Food triggers lots of false alarms because of the density of some items, like, say, chocolate, can look like some kind of explosives to X-ray machines.
Brings food on a plane. Sorry.
I'm
not a foodie, but I know
our
that
general manager. I saw him. He had food on the plane on the trip back. He was sitting right in front of me. Yeah.
I mean, I love when people bring food on a plane.
They had a can of Pringles. And like a
No,
Diet
you buy
Pepsi
that
or
on
something.
board. You buy that on
You buy
board.
that after you make
right,
it
when you make it through security. That's
maybe,
what I'm saying.
Maybe you bring it from home
Maybe,
because
maybe not.
you don't
Maybe
want
we
to pay
just don't know.
$14 for a canister of Pringles.
But I don't like this laptop ban. I mean, it's from the United States to select Middle Eastern and Persian Gulf airports and to all flights from Europe. You can't bring a lot of business travelers.
312-642-5600, Turnkey Top Row. Answer line 64636DA. Turnkey.pro text line for those of you who travel.
Yeah, well, a lot of business travelers use their laptops in the cabin because they're 8-10-hour flights.
Well,
you have to keep working.
But so
I thought they were already being properly screened.
Do you
have to put your laptop through.
Well, they're using this as an example. This is expanding beyond that. Is the point? So do you have concerns about these enhanced screening techniques and procedures that TSA is considering that are under review and likely to be promulgated in the next few weeks. So get ready for your summer travel to be taking off more than your shoes and your laptops, taking out paper, which apparently tends to obfuscate. If there's enough paper in your bag, it can obfuscate other images. And so that was the testing of the pulling all the paper from the bags that was done in Kansas City, but was scrapped because it was not efficient enough. And it's interesting, too, because that points out something else, the whole trade-offs in life. We want to think that something can be 100% fail-safe, and we make trade-offs all the time. That's why the speed limits on interstates are 65 miles an hour, not 5 miles an hour. We make trade-offs between safety and convenience all the time, and it's interesting that TSA is essentially admitting it. Do
you trust them? Are they making the right decisions?
Well, I mean, so
are they really working hard back there while they're screening your bag?
They're very concerned about paper. Apparently, they're less concerned with actual weapons per that mystery shopper routine internal investigation that was done last year that found 97% of prohibited items made its way through security points. So it's literally like a scene from Airplane. The guy with the RPG walks through while the little granny gets, hustled up against the wall and strip searched. So do I have confidence in TSA? I wouldn't go that far, but it's interesting to note the implicit admission, though, that TSA is making. Paper, thick, enough paper can obfuscate some of the images. So it would increase security, arguably, infinitesimally if we had everybody remove every item of paper from their bags. But TSA is scrapping that because it's not convenient, and it would greatly increase the wait times to go through security.
So anything bigger than a cell phone, that is, even books need to be put now in those gray bins to be scrutinized. It's going to be, I think, a little bit of a nightmare at the airports, just, at the beginning when people get used to it.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be safe than sorry. I know and I don't mind when TSA agents pat me down. I consider it a free massage.
Right.
I just don't like when they pat down my kids, and when they do, I'm present.
I ask for the pat down.
Oh, you do? Like, can you please just touch it? Wait, I think you missed a spot.
Yeah.
Right over here, a little harder too.
Yeah.
Work out that knot.
Yeah,
that's how the Dan
when he does
Prof
it.
does it.
No, I say, lift up your chain. No, you lift it up. Okay, that's it. That's right. Just right there, just like that. Don't stop.
How does your Mr. T starter kit get through security?
I just have to, lift it up, and they pat down underneath all the time.
Got a lot going on there, bro. Hey, bro. Yeah, you got a lot, bro. It's not. But every security screening is different because I wear my cowboy boots everywhere when I travel. Some airports it goes off. Other airports it doesn't. I mean, because I have TSA pre-check, so I can keep my shoes on. But I always end up taking them off.
The shoes that's to me security theater. Meanwhile, again, I love Holman Jenkins' understated way of just reminding people. The TSA has been criticized in the past for missing weapons in undercover government tests.
The footnote at the end.
Yeah. So, they're not going to let you get through with that chocolate bar. But if you have an actual weapon.
Yeah. But I'm really worried about this laptop trail, because what do they know that they're not telling us? There's something going on about laptops.
I think they are telling us. They did a demonstration model of explosives hidden inside laptop computers, and that fear prompted the separation of laptops from your bag when you go through security.
I'm glad I came to work today.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Ralph and Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I have a friend who routinely travels with his pocket knife. It's constructed of aluminum and stainless steel, so it should set off a magnetometer. He's traveled everywhere with it, routinely just goes through security, including Disneyland in China on a recent trip. Carries it, and he's the kind of guy that you want on an airplane who's able to help and protect other people, including himself. But at the same time, I've observed an old lady in a wheelchair getting her diaper patted down at security in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. I stood there, mouth agape, wondering, are you kidding me, really? What's next? Plexiglass windows so that they can observe joint replacements? That's going to be an option on the next surgery.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Mark in Bartlett.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the when you have pre-check for international flights, are they going to make us all take paper out even then?
Well, they've scrapped the whole taking paper out because it didn't go well in Kansas City, Missouri in the beta test. But in terms of what the procedures will be and how they'll be applied to pre-check versus the hoi polloi, that's not clear. But these new rules are going to be implemented after. They're going to be made in the announcement's going to be made in a few weeks with the new rules implemented after the summer travel rush, according to the Wall Street Journal report on it. Thanks for the call, Mark. Appreciate that. I fly too. Like
You fly too?
Well, just in my bag.
You fly personally because you.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about when I fly commercially with the aforesaid hoi polloi.
With the public.
I always have a cigar cutter in there because I sometimes just forget to take it out. And that's metal, and it's got a blade. It's contained, but it's a snipper, right? It's a cutter. And I've never had an issue with it. The only time I had an issue with it was one time I had to empty my pockets to go into the RNC convention.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, all right, but don't bring it back because that's not supposed to be there. So it's just interesting. And it's kind of the point that Ralph from Rantoul is making, and a lot of people make anecdotally. The randomness of it all. Mm-hmm. And that's what inspires a lack of confidence.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm really trying to get in this story because I want to hear about it, about the transplant, right? The penis transplant?
Hey, that's right.
Okay. My mom was here earlier, and she said, I didn't know it was that kind of show, but I do want to know what happened. Thanks, Louise, and her mom voice.
We'll let you know how it ended.
Today, cloudy, but some sunshine. Oh, it's making a return. A high of 68 degrees. Tonight, cloudy, a low of 52. And for Friday, we're going to have some sun, then clouds with a thunderstorm late in the afternoon. A high, though, of 72 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. The delays in northwest Indiana are all westbound on the toll road from the Portage Toll Plaza to the Travel Plaza. On westbound 94 from past 20 to before State Road 249. Then on 8094 from past Grant to around Klein. Eden's 27 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 24 at the Kennedy. 51 minutes now. O'Hare to downtown outbound 40. The Eisenhower's an hour from Thorndale to the post office, outbound 44 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, it's heavy northbound from Harlem most of the way to 31st, the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Mike Gallagher here with exciting news about Woodfield Nissan. If you've waited to buy your next car, there may never be a better time to buy because Woodfield Nissan is drastically reducing the prices on all their vehicles to make room for incoming inventory. Now, this is your chance to save at least 25% off MSRP on select new Nissans. Every new Nissan is on sale. There's no other Nissan dealer in the Midwest that I recommend. Don't waste your time shopping around. Go to Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates. A huge selection of 2017 Nissan Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues, now available with 0% APR financing for 72 months with no payments for 90 days, and they have a $2,000 Nissan customer cash rebate. Buy your next Nissan at Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates, 2 miles west of the Woodfield Shopping Mall at Gulf and Higgins, or go to woodfieldnissan.com.
Prices are plus tax, title, license, and doc fee, and savings off MSRP is on select models. 0% APR financing is on select models to qualified buyers and is $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance to qualified buyers. Interest may be accrued from date of delivery. 2 or more available with this offer.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I've been waiting all day for this story.
It does matter if you're black or white, apparently.
Uh-oh.
Amy, is your mom gone?
Yeah.
I can't do this story in front of Mrs. Jacobson.
Louise has left the building, yes.
There is a new question you ladies are going to have to ask prospective suitors.
She's still listening, though. Yes.
Does the unit match the drapes? The world's third penis transplant is a big success, except for one tiny issue.
Oh!
The recipient is black, but his new little guy is white.
No, you didn't. How could... Come on.
Why even go through with the
Can't-
transplant?
I mean...
In order to fix this disconcerting disparity, the 40-year-old patient will have his penis tattooed later this year.
Okay, gross. I'm sure it won't turn out a different color, maybe gray.
The tattoo is...
Wait till you get a lot of this.
The tattoo is going to say, things may look bigger than they appear. This is the South Africa is where this occurred. The patient is black and the donor was white, said the good professor who led the operation. We have very few donors for this transplant procedure. You don't say.
They're not live donors, right? They're
No,
dead
they're not live donors. And this is the,
Doesn't it grow back? I'm so confused.
We have become sort of experts in this arena as we have followed the plight of the bionic penis man in England.
Right, and then the first penile implant.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
Again, your institutional knowledge in this area is unparalleled, really.
What's the gent's name? Or are they not disclosing it?
Yeah, they're not disclosing that.
Well, why wouldn't he wait for an African American penis? Or was it? I mean, too soon. He needed it now.
No, again, he had This wasn't. Obviously, it wasn't for enhancement purposes.
No, I mean, did this guy have a bike accident like the last guy?
No, he didn't get dragged by a car and lose his
third leg. Okay.
Oh boy, now you've done. No, that's too far.
Well, his name was Tripod.
No, he needed a transplant. The gentleman who received the transplant needed one due to complications from a routine circumcision.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
See,
Ow.
This is why you get circumcised when you're a newborn and you don't wait until your 40s.
Hey,
who would get circumcised in their 40s?
This is a serious issue. The man had been in relationships before.
Yeah.
But whenever the question of sex arose, he bailed out. Because, he didn't want to be like your average white guy and embarrass himself.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
He had been suffering with depression, was even suicidal. The idea of having a white man's junk brought him to the brink. Now, with the tattooing procedure that will be performed by Massachusetts medical tattoo artist Rosemary Andlauer, and I hear her work is excellent. She's well known in the industry.
Oh, that won't hurt, that tattoo. Oh.
Now he is certainly one of the happiest patients we've seen in our ward. He's doing remarkably well. No signs of rejection, and all the reconnected structures seem to be healing well. New lease on life does the little man have. Yeah. Would you donate your unit to medical science? I've already decided to do that. I've signed the back of my card with a note on my driver's license specifically.
For that?
Make sure you grab this because I think this should be studied by the eminent scientists of our time so that people can learn from it. Bob and Morris, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I just telling you real quick, you're trying to figure out a term. I remember when I was a kid, we used to joke around. You have a left knee, a right knee, and a wee knee.
Yeah, so there you go. Thanks for Bob.
That's cute.
George and Monique.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. What's the big deal? Michelle's been dealing with this problem for years.
Oh, George.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. What is
I'm not done with penis talk.
No, we're going to talk about something else. Somebody else, another wiener out in Montana who did something bad to a reporter and now may pay the ultimate price. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 53 degrees. We have cloudy skies and winds north at 11. In the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom, Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. President Donald Trump, high praise for newly elected French President Emmanuel Macron as the leaders meet for the first time. Trump and Macron meeting ahead of a working lunch at the U.S. ambassador's Belgium residence as NATO powers meet in Belgium today. The GOP health care bill passed by the House would apparently result in about 23 million Americans losing some health insurance coverage by 2026, but that's based on Obamacare metrics. The assessment of the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, which released its scoring of the measure yesterday, says the bill will save money, will reduce premiums, and will also reduce the deficit over time. British Prime Minister Theresa May says she's going to tell President Trump the U.S. cannot leak information about the Manchester attack to the media.
I will make clear to President Trump that intelligence that is shared between our law enforcement agencies must remain secure.
May shared that with reporters today after British police stopped sharing information about the deadly suicide bombing that killed 22. The Republican candidate in today's special U.S. House election in Montana is facing a misdemeanor assault charge after allegedly going after a reporter, the Guardian's Ben Jacobs. It happened just hours after a report in Montana, and reporters spoke with the candidate and asked him if he'd been hearing talk of voter fatigue. And Gianforte's response was very short.
Oh, I'm tired of it too.
Fast forward to last night, Gianforte can be heard on tape yelling at Jacobs after being asked about the CBO's financial analysis of the GOP health care bill. Teachers at a Chicago charter school will not be going on strike. Educators at Passages Charter School on the north side reached a tentative deal with school management late last night. 5 are in custody after a man was shot by undercover police officers in Aurora. The officers were watching 2 suspicious vehicles when someone in one of those cars shot at police. 1 woman is dead. A man is wounded following a possible road rage shooting in Schiller Park. It happened yesterday on Lawrence Avenue. The woman died at the scene while the man was hospitalized. 1 man in stable condition after he was shot by Chicago police, an officer who was struck and wounded by a suspected stolen car. The officers had stopped that car in the 1600 block of North LeClaire when the driver took off, breaking the leg of the police officer who then shot the driver of that vehicle. And the press apparently this morning is starting to feel sorry for Donald Trump spokesman Sean Spicer, because he didn't get to meet the Pope. President Trump met Pope Francis on Wednesday. His entourage at the Vatican included the First Lady, the Secretary of State, and several other notables like Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, both Jewish. But they got to meet the Pope. Notably absent was Sean Spicer, a devout Catholic, prompting headlines this morning like, Sean Spicer gets a ride on the Nope-mobile. Chicago sports. Cubs over the Giants 5-4. Diamondbacks knock out the White Sox 8-6 in Arizona. The news service of Staples. When it's time for help with your new technology, go to Staples. Staples has a full range of tech services to help your business, from data recovery to virus protection. Now get $50 off PC diagnostic and repair services. Ends 5/27. Service does not include parts. Staples, it's Pro Time. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Start your day on the right track and take Metra. Metra's 96% on-time dependability helps you get where you're going on time no matter what's happening on the roads. Visit metrorail.com.
For half a century, Schrank's Smoke & Gun has been the firearm store generations of customers trust. And during the month of May, Schrank's is offering an excellent concealed carry pistol at an amazing price. All new Sky 9mm 10-round pistols are on sale for only $239. Schrank's has Lake County's largest selection of new, used, and consignment pistols, rifles, shotguns, and an impressive variety of ammo. Over 700 firearms in stock, including a huge selection of AR rifles from Colt, Smith & Wesson, Civilian Force Arms, and many more. Even collectibles, older hunting rifles, plus full gunsmith services. And you can get all of your favorite cigars at Schrank's. So drive north to avoid the Cook County taxes and don't miss the $239 sale on Sky 9mm pistols. Perfect for concealed carry all through May. Visit smoke_gun.org or call 847-662-4034 for directions. Schrank's Smoke & Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
7:36. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's heavy on the inbound Kennedy from Harlem to the Burns Circle. 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 24 from Montrose. 25 on the Express. Outbound 40 to the airport. Edens, 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 34. The Eisenhower. 58 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 47. The Stevenson is an hour and 8 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State delays, southbound 120 to 137. Northbound 95th to 31st. From the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. Reagan Tollway is bottled up from 59 all the way to 355. Veterans Memorial slow Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt and Army Trail to 290. Traffic is a service of Account Temps. Account Temps is the leading temporary staffing agency for accounting, finance, and bookkeeping professionals. In fact, 9 out of 10 of their customers would recommend them to a colleague. Call them today or visit AccountTemps.com to learn more. Account Temps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Clouds this morning will break for some afternoon sun. And a high of 68. Currently 54 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7.
There's no cure. There's no magic pill. It hurts deep inside.
How did Rob Quist's album not go platinum? This is the third song that I've heard this morning from him that I like.
This one's called Rain, Tears, and Whiskey.
That's a great country song name.
I know. He's not bad. He's easy on the eyes.
He's 70.
He's a real... What?
70.
He's a good-looking 70-year-old. He's got a nice cowboy hat on, soothing voice. We already heard 45 Caliber Man and Blue Jean Love Affair.
.45 caliber man is my favorite. I'm going to put that in rotation. So he's a legitimate songwriter. He's also the Democrat candidate for Congress in Montana in the special election today, running against Greg Gianforte.
Gianforte!
All right. Apologize to all of our Italian-American listeners for
Hey, he's a tough Italian-American.
Peter Griffin impersonation of an Italian.
Tell him
This is
what he did.
This is a surprisingly close race. It was a surprisingly close race before what happened yesterday happened. This is a state, of course, there's one congressman there, so it's the entire state. This is a state Trump won by 20 points plus, blowout, right? Normally a red state, particularly in presidential elections. At the state level, you have a conservative Democrat, so-called, at least marketed as a conservative Democrat, like John Tester, sneak through in the governor's race or a Senate race, but Max Baucus comes to mind as well. But normally Republicans, conservative state, right? So it shouldn't be close, but it is. Gianforte is a successful entrepreneur. And
one time ran for governor, too, of Montana. Right?
Yeah, and this is consider running. And Gianforte, or I guess he was running. So anyway, so he's been in the political arena for a while. He's been in Montana for 40 years. Gianforte and Mr. Quist are pretty far apart on the issues. I mean, Quist is not like marketing himself as a conservative Democrat. Listen to Gianforte describing their differences on issues in a Fox interview last month.
If this is about getting Montana values back into D.C., Rob Quist, honestly, is Nancy Pelosi with a cowboy hat. He's wrong on immigration. He wants the whole country to be a sanctuary country. He's calling for 90% income tax rates. He wants massive cuts in our military at a time when clearly we have problems around the world.
And so this is a race that was, expected. This will stay in the Republican column. Ryan Zinke vacated the seat to take the Interior Secretary job. That's why you have the special. The real focus was next week's Georgia special election for Tom Price's seat, how close that is. But
this wasn't supposed to be a story, but it became a story last night.
Well, it was a story, and now it's become a real concern in terms of the outcome today.
Yeah, because last night a reporter from The Guardian, Ben Jacobs, asked him about, the CBO and healthcare and what's his stance now on Trump care. And he didn't want to talk about it. And trust me, he didn't want to talk about it.
And we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have
Okay,
the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hell out of here, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
What's your name? He needs witnesses. What's your name? He's got enough evidence.
Do you have any other questions?
Anything you'd like to add? Oh, I'm sorry.
This press conference is over. It's bad form and
you think could he be a little edgy? Too much caffeine?
Bad political
youthful indiscretion
calculation to lose your mind and body slam a reporter on election eve.
All right. Well, in his
now
defense,
in Montana, there a lot of people have suggested that in Montana this will actually be a net benefit because the media is disliked, dislike the most of any of the players in this saga. But it's just, you can dislike the media and also suggest that it is inappropriate to assault anyone, particularly a reporter in that context.
Now, in his defense, Greg Gianforte, I can butcher his name, said that Greg claims that the reporter, Ben Jacobs, slammed the recorder into his face, and he came in without permission. And this morning, Ben, besides having his ego maybe a little bruised and his glasses broken, he says he has a bad elbow. And he has to type one with one hand.
Went up and asked him about it, and sort of said, talk to my communications person. I just followed up and said, you've been talking about this. Just wanted to get your response, and then he sort of said, no, I've had enough. And next thing I know, I'm being body slammed, and he's on top of me for a second. My glasses are broken. It's the strangest moment in my entire life reporting.
In his defense, that is Gianforte's defense, Jacob should have known that this could happen when Gianforte hired Mean Gene Okerlund as his press secretary.
Well, an important detail is that Gianforte said that he would not give his opinion on Trump care until the CBO score emerged. And he was holding him accountable to that. That's why Jacob said, hey, the CBO score's out on health care. Now will you respond? And he said, I'm not talking about that.
You want my opinion on health care? You want my opinion on health care? You're going to need health care after I give you my opinion on health care.
How's your health care plan? She paid. I mean, seriously. Well, this morning he's been charged with a misdemeanor by the sheriff, who the sheriff donated $250 to his campaign. That's all right.
When Greg Gianforte says he's going to go to Washington to fight for you, Montana, he means it, literally. You take that to the bank.
Some people like that. Do you like it? 312-642-5600 is our turnkey tough guy answer line today.
Do you like? Would you like your congressman to be Big John Stud, body slamming people he disagrees with? Jeff in Mundelein, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I'd love to see Gianforte get in there because I'd like to see a CNN reporter in Washington get up in his face like that. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah. Anderson Cooper wouldn't stand a chance.
I want to know if you have one of those little magnifying glass taped to the back of your driver's license.
Yes.
Oh,
thanks for that.
That's funny.
Jeff. That's a
combining segment. That's an inside baseball.
That's a reference to the penal transplant that we discussed earlier. And when I said I am on the donor list.
I'm not looking at you.
I'm just trying to help my fellow man.
Who wants my ovaries?
Pass on the goods. Robert in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, two things. I would say there's absolutely no way that what this guy did is acceptable. There's absolutely no excuse for it. He's a grown kid. He's a grown man. He's acting like a schoolyard bully. And I just kind of begs the question, where does he get this attitude from, his belief that it's okay to do stuff like that? Maybe it's from somebody at a rally standing up and saying, throw out the press and screaming at the press.
Oh, come on. Really?
Oh, no, what are you talking about? That's an example.
Robert.
That's what they're saying on MSNBC this morning.
If the president, this is a successful adult man in his 50s. If the president of the United States says something, then you follow suit regardless of what that something is. You don't have your own mind and your own set of values in terms of how you behave in civil society. I don't care what the president says, whether it's Trump or Obama. I'm not going to assault a reporter. Of course, what he did is ridiculous. To blame Trump is equally ridiculous. Thanks, Robert.
According to a Fox News crew that was in the room, they said he grabbed Jacobs by the neck with both hands, slammed him into the ground behind him. They watched in disbelief as then they said Gianforte then began punching the reporter as he moved on top of the reporter. And the Fox News crew said that Ben Jacobs did not shove his recorder in his face.
And then he got up on the top turnbuckle and did a Superfly Snuka flying body slam, pinned him for the 3 count, and he is still your heavyweight champion.
Well, Jacobs called an ambulance. The fire department showed up, sheriff's department. He was taken to Bozeman Health Hospital.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the blaming Trump. Can we hold adults responsible for what they do? Honestly, of course it's absurd what he did. It's inexcusable, and Gianforte should apologize. But because Trump said something at a rally, we're all just automatons. Whatever the president says, we're going to follow suit because he set an example for us, like we're addled teenagers. Give me a break. Come on, Robert. Candace and DuPage, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, Dan, you took the call. That's so funny. Okay, listen, I don't care about what this guy did. That's not my point why I'm calling. I think all these people are going to lose because none of them are embracing Trump, okay?
Well, that's not true. That's not true.
No. Karen Handel is hiding. She's hiding, and she's going to lose, in my opinion. And this guy, I mean, I haven't even seen Trump go up there. I haven't heard him say anything about it. People are not coming out.
He was a Trump supporter, and an outspoken Trump supporter was Gianforte in the presidential election. Donald Trump Jr. has been in Bozeman stumping for Gianforte. So that's not true in this
Okay,
case.
but what about Karen Handel?
Well, that's a different story. Thanks for the call,
But also,
Candace.
too, keep in mind 50 to 70% of people have already voted
Yes, that is
for
an important point.
their candidate.
Mike in Park Ridge.
Dan, you stole my thunder, but I'm wondering if we could write a country song about how using violence toward political ends is the first rule of civilization. You can't use violence to further your own political agenda.
That's right.
Period.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mike. And that sounds like a job for Rob Quist after he loses the election today. I'll put him on that task. He's getting ready to ditty about that. George in Will County.
They said he had already told the reporter, go away, I'll comment or go speak with my spokesman. He barged his way into the room, got all up in his face with his phone trying to record him. How much more do we need to have people violating our own personal?
Well, you walk, George. You walk away, don't you? You walk away.
He was doing a sit-down.
He already walked away. He walked into the room. The guy followed him into the interview room. And this is my point. We leave off minor details, thinking that they're minor details. But if you start adding up all the stuff that he's actually followed him through the room and followed him into the private room where he was supposed to be holding the interview, these guys are turning into paparazzi. This guy from BuzzFeed is no different than the other guy that got fired from BuzzFeed that was running around here saying Sheriff Clark plagiarized the stuff that, this so-called reporter for CNN. These guys are paparazzi and nothing more.
Thanks for the call, George. Even if they're paparazzi, you can't body slam paparazzi,
No.
nor should you.
Well, that's why he was charged with misdemeanor assault.
Yes, it's just you can't do that. That is not defensible behavior.
He's tired. And on the eve of the election, he lost his cool.
It's politically stupid on top of it, yes. Mark and Joliet.
He should apologize.
Hey, good morning, Amy and Dan. From my perspective, there was a time when men would fight back instead of being femmes that wear silk thong panties that get bunched and twisted up when they least expect.
Well, that's vivid. Thank you for the call, Mark.
We don't know what Ben Rhodes or Jacobs was wearing, but I don't think it was that.
Ooh, Ben Rhodes and silk thong panties. That was a Freudian slip on your part. Here's what I would suggest in keeping with the theme of their interaction: cage match.
Yeah.
That's the only fair way to settle it.
Arm wrestling.
Think like Hulk Hogan and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff from a bygone era.
Pay-per-view. Yeah, you know what? I see where you're going with this.
Thank you. Sean from Elmwood Park.
Well, it's normally not hard to throw around a guy named Jacobs, but it does get expensive. So get your checkbook out.
Yep.
And number two, it's more fun to listen to Republicans answer health care questions. Kind of like Roscom today, where he basically says, just vote for anything. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. See, the problem, the Republicans aren't going to lose because they're not embracing this moron. They're going to lose because they don't know how to reject him. We don't want socialized medicine from bell-bottomed old men or bell-bottomed old women. We don't want it from smooth-talking Soviets. We don't want it. So you keep cozying up against it, and we're going to throw you out. So here's the thing, Roscom. Call Quinn and call Kirk, because they got the boxes you're going to need to move out of your office. You're gone, Kazoo.
No, he's not, Sean, and you need to go to
Pull
your
your
happy
heels.
place before you body slam yourself. Chip in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I'd like to respond to Robert that called a little bit earlier that the thugs were hired by Robert Creamer to show up at the Trump rallies, and the real thugs that were at Trump's rallies were actually Democrats hired by the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, I mean, okay. I mean, but this, so we don't defend thuggery regardless of its form. That's the point, isn't it?
Right. But if you want to point out and say that Trump was a thug, the real thugs were hired by the Democrat Party to show up and cause trouble. And when you do stuff like that, you kind of get what you get. So
Thanks for the call, Chip. Tom in Deer Park.
Yeah, a lot of the reaction to this is kind of, unfortunately, what I would have expected to come out today. I love your show and what you guys do, but this stuff is in the air, and it's in the air because of what the president put out, his attitudes toward the press when he made fun of Kovaleski from the New York Times and then said, I'll pay for you if you do this. Our country's changed, and this is in the air, and
It's only
I'm disappointed.
is it only coming from one place, Tom?
You know what? My answer to that, Dan, is it's coming from the president and all of his followers that just rally around like a bunch of mindless cultists. Yes, that's my opinion.
Okay, thanks. I don't agree with that, but I appreciate the call.
Well, you little... You. It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, I know you're in the market for a new car because you're driving this jalopy from the late 70s that has about 600,000 miles on it. And,
used minivan.
You got your money out of it, so maybe it's time to slip into something more stylish and current.
Yes, and maybe a little more safe.
And our next guest can help you do that. He is Tracy Kahn. He's the vice president of Joe Cotton Ford.
Thanks for having me.
Give us a little perspective on the auto businesses for Joe Cotton Ford.
Since the election, business actually has been really good, although we did have a bit of a Christmas hangover in January, but it seemed the day after the election, all of a sudden business just took off. People started feeling good again, and obviously that's evidenced in the stock market.
And Joe Cotton right there on North Avenue in the Western Burbs. Someone in the market for a car like Amy who needs creative financing because of, dubious credit. What separates Joe Cotton Ford, and what would you say about kind of the experience at Joe Cotton Ford different than other Ford dealers as well as auto dealers generally?
I think when you walk in the front door, you feel a difference right away. You don't have a number of people converging on you, and you feel this pressure. We are a low-pressure dealer. We try to keep it that way. We also focus heavily on service because we believe that people will come in and buy, but it's service that brings them back again. And in the dealership, we have banners all over the showroom, about 1,400 names of people who say they buy all their cars from Joe Cotton Ford. It's a neat situation. Low pressure, family-oriented, good service, keep the people coming back, and do work in the community.
What's the biggest seller right now? The Ford Explorer. That's like a luxury vehicle these days.
It is. Probably the best seller right now is the Escape. Because of the dollars. But you just can't get enough Explorers right now. It's very popular.
He is Tracy Kahn. He's the vice president at Joe Cotton Ford. Tracy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 15-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
You hear me talk about MyPillow all the time, but that's because a good night's sleep is so important to our health. For May, you can still receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack, 2 premium MyPillows, and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. What I love about MyPillow is you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless if you sleep on your back or side. You'll get into deep sleep faster and stay there longer. No more waking up to a stiff neck or headache. What's great is our friend Mike Lindell manufactures them right here in America using American labor. You can wash and dry your MyPillow, and they are hypoallergenic. And, of course, you'll get the 10-year warranty with a 60-day money-back guarantee. For May, get 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code AMY or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201. Promo code Amy.
All Nissans are created equal. It's Nissan of St. Charles that makes the difference. At Nissan of St. Charles, we go the extra mile to make sure your happiness lasts as long as you own your vehicle. Every new Nissan or used vehicle we sell comes with our exclusive Lifetime Advantage warranty. So when you get your new Nissan at Nissan of St. Charles, you'll drive with peace of mind knowing it's backed by our exclusive warranty that lasts the lifetime of your vehicle. And be sure to ask about our Lifetime Tire Program. Where else can you get a great deal on a new Nissan, a Lifetime Advantage warranty, and a lifetime tire program. The little things make all the difference. While all Nissans may be created equal, the difference is clearly Nissan of St. Charles. Located on North Avenue in the heart of St. Charles. Or visit us online at nissanofstcharles.com. That's nissanofstcharles.com. Nissan of St. Charles. Experience the difference.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
First rule about Greg Gianforte's campaign, don't talk about Greg Gianforte's campaign. Coming up at 8:08, we'll give you an update on the Manchester bombing.
Seemed to be a family affair. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a grand jury indicts a man in the fatal shooting of a Chicago area judge. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Polls are just opening now in Montana, where voters have something new to consider. An altercation with a reporter last night.
Like me to get the I'd also like to call the police.
And now the Republican candidate is charged with misdemeanor assault. Fox's Rachel Sutherland has more live from Washington.
Dave, voters are heading to the polls to decide who will fill the seat of former Republican Congressman Ryan Zinke, who left to join the Trump administration. This after Republican candidate Greg Gianforte had this encounter with Guardian reporter Ben Jacobs.
We'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you
Okay,
have
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys.
Moments before, Jacobs had asked him questions about health care reform. Polls were tightening heading into today's race. Dave.
Rachel, Britain's Queen has gone to Manchester, visiting kids injured in Monday night's concert bombing.
Very interesting how everybody has united, haven't they? Yeah.
It's been amazing, really. Really amazing.
That's the Queen with the father of the victim. 23 remain in critical condition. 22 people were killed by the terrorist.
We currently have 8 people in custody in relation to Monday's attack.
Chief Police Constable Ian Hopkins says they're searching more homes, while another British official says they'll no longer share information with the U.S. until there's a guarantee there won't be any more leaks to the media, like info that got out about the suicide attacker and his bomb. Britain's Prime Minister plans to talk about that with President Trump as he meets with NATO allies in Brussels, where Fox's Simon Owen is live.
Dave, the president meeting with the new French president, Emmanuel Macron, for lunch, congratulating him on his win earlier this month. At the start of the meeting, President Trump declining to answer questions from reporters about General Mike Flynn and Russia, and also about Britain's anger over those information leaks by US officials. The president is expected to speak later here at NATO's new headquarters, which are being inaugurated. A memorial made of remnants from the World Trade Center is being unveiled.
Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, 53 degrees, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. In the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom, Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Teachers at a Chicago charter school will not be going on strike. Educators at Passages Charter School on the north side reached a tentative deal with school management late last night. Chicago making changes following the United Airlines passenger dragging incident at O'Hare. The city council approving an ordinance yesterday that bans city employees from helping airlines remove combative passengers from flights.
No city employee, including an aviation police officer or a Chicago police officer, can go on a plane and do the airline's dirty work.
However, the exceptions are for crimes or emergencies, and then those city employees will be allowed on flights at O'Hare. The days of the old copper wire telephone may be numbered in the state of Illinois. A Senate panel yesterday approved a plan to allow AT&T to phase out plain old telephone service, or POTS lines, in the state. Phone company says it wants to invest in cell and data networks instead if AT&T gets the okay to phase out the service. Customers in every major metro area in the state, except Bloomington Normal, will see the change. Cubs over the Giants 5-4 at Wrigley. Diamondbacks sweep out the White Sox with an 8-6 win in Arizona. The news service of Cabela's. Cabela's Memorial Day sale going on now. Family events, amazing deals, your one stop before you get out of town. Get Cabela's Adult and Youth Deluxe Flotation Device Vest for $9.99. Stop in and save this week at Cabela's in Hammond and Hoffman Estates. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, stock futures are higher after the S&P and the Nasdaq closed at a record in yesterday's session. Stocks were helped by minutes from the Federal Reserve's latest meeting. The Fed statement points to an interest rate hike that could come as soon as the next Fed meeting in mid-June. Shares of Hewlett-Packard rising after the company reported better than expected earnings. The company was helped by a PC market that seems to be stabilizing as businesses replace or upgrade their older systems. According to Goldman Sachs, the ride-sharing business will just keep on booming. Goldman says it will reach $285 billion by 2030. The analysis sees ride-hailing overtaking taxis. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Harvey owns a building and wants to save money by making his heating and cooling system more energy efficient.
Yes.
But Harvey's afraid of the cost and if he can get a return on his investment.
I am indeed.
Plus, he's nervous about disrupting the businesses that rent space in his building. Harvey doesn't know what to do with an HVAC system that's seen better days. The Air Comfort problem solvers to the rescue. Working as a team, the Air Comfort professionals find simple solutions that make a huge impact on building efficiency and operating costs with minimal or no disruptions to building operations. HVAC upgrades and retrofits from Air Comfort can save thousands of dollars per year. They save energy, reduce maintenance, and eliminate downtime. And buildings with better energy ratings command higher rents and selling prices and make tenants happy. Get real solutions from the Air Comfort team of problem solvers. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com and start saving money today. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
The Ready to Ride sales event is back. Gear up for summertime fun with Sea-Doo Watercraft and Can-Am ATVs that are engineered to perform and excite. Stop in now. Choose your ultimate summertime adventure machine and save up to $900 on select 2016 models. Get ready to ride because the fun starts now. Visit RJ's Recreational Vehicles in West Chicago. Offer ends soon. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Summer involves a lot of driving to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on HumX only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
8:07. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy is jammed. Nagel to the Hubbard Tunnel. It is an hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 41 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound 40 minutes to the airport. The Edens is 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 34. The Eisenhower. It's an hour. Thorndale to downtown, 43 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 49 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour from the Tri-State, outbound 38 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive slows southbound Foster to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound from Marquette to Hayes and from around Soldier Field to Balboa. Southbound Tri-State slow, 120 to 137. Northbound from 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis. And the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, that is also slow before 190. And the Veterans Memorial is jammed northbound Butterfield most of the way to Roosevelt and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist Chris Morelli.
Today, clouds breaking for some sun, high 68. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 52. Friday, some sun, then turning cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 72. Saturday, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 78. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 54 at O'Hare, and the National Weather Service has just issued a beach hazard advisory for the Chicago area and northwest Indiana. Major rip currents and waves through the afternoon, actually through 7 p.m. tonight. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by M.J. Miller & Company Jewelers, where your old pieces can become new treasures. M.J. Miller, downtown Barrington.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Turning to the state of Illinois, budget impasse. The legislative session ends the end of this month, so next week is the state budget impasse, the lack of a state budget, constitutionally balanced state budget. Is it affecting you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-360-A, turnkey.pro text line. Is it affecting you? And whether it is or it isn't, how would you like to see it solved? Are you on board with the increase in your state income tax by a third that Senate Democrats passed the other day, now being taken up by the House? Is that the way out, just more revenue, or do you demand spending reforms attached to those, to that new revenue, that tax increase? Or do you want it to all be on the spending side and nothing on the tax side? No tax increase. Can't afford any higher taxes, even sales tax, cloud tax, income tax, all contained in there. Can't afford tax. It. Yeah, can't afford it where Illinois families pay the highest state and local combined tax burden in the country already.
I urge people to take a look at their cable bill. You want to talk about taxes from the city of Chicago? It's up to $42 a month in just taxes, city and state taxes on cable, phone, internet. I mean, it's unbelievable. Because I always try to negotiate my cable bill, and they always say, well, it's your taxes.
Right.
And so what if I lived outside of Cook County? Though they'd be lowered by 1% in Lake County. And, I mean, it's crazy. I just want to keep more of the money that I make.
Highest gas tax.
Yeah, gas tax.
Normally near, if not the highest gas prices in the country, Chicago, because of the layers of taxation on gas.
Well, gas is up there.
Double taxed in this state. The Illinois Policy Institute commissioned a poll on this topic. Mm-hmm. It was conducted by Fabrizio and Lee, which is a reputable, long-time national polling firm, done a lot of presidential campaigns. I use them as well for my polling. They're recognized. They also served as Trump's pollster, by the way. Surveyed 500 likely voters from across Illinois this past Monday. 61% of those surveyed self-identified as either moderate or liberal. 43% described themselves as Democrats. And so the normal generic ballot deficit where Republicans have about a 10-point budget ballot deficit. Poll, margin of error, 4.4%. The findings. 94% of Illinoisans surveyed said they're concerned about the state budget. The cohort most affected by the state budget impasse, ages 35 to 55 and racially African Americans. About half, 49% of likely voters said spending cuts should be the only tool used to close the budget deficit for this fiscal year. 64% opposed the state budget that includes raising the state income tax. 2/3. Remember, 43% self-identified Democrats, 61% self-identify ideologically as 61% self-identify ideologically as moderate or liberal. 2/3 oppose a state budget, including raising the state income tax. Raising taxes in the absence of spending cuts was also unpopular. Strong majority of Illinois polls said they would be less likely to support candidates who would raise the state income tax, 61% less likely. And actually, on the state sales tax, 73% less likely. The state sales tax, a regressive tax, of course. Despite what you hear, this is kind of the same thing. I think we have a bit of a bubble effect going on in Illinois, much like the bubble effect in the D.C. press corps in advance of the Trump-Clinton election. This is done. This is over. This is the only answer. It's Hillary Clinton. She's going to win. It's over. The Springfield, the press agents for big government, the Springfield and Chicago press corps, got to get a deal. Got to get a deal. Got to get a deal. Has to be a tax increase. Not in raising taxes in Illinois is tilting at windmills. Of course, running up $250 million in debt, That's not tilting it.
And how much do we have in unpaid bills? $14 billion, you said?
Projecting out to be $14 billion. By,
in just unpaid bills?
Yes. Unpaid bills to individuals who are owed the monies for goods or services provided. Yes. And so
where's that money going to come?
Well, that gives you an order of magnitude.
Well, what's our priority? That or paying off pensions or
the Senate
coddling the CPS?
The Senate Democrats' $5 billion tax increase. Raising the state income tax by a third and the other taxes they raise, state sales tax, cloud tax, $5 billion. $14 billion in unpaid bills. So you think so those of you say it's just a revenue problem, just a money problem, that we had to have the tax increase. That's what the DC, they're just extensions. Chicago and Springfield Press Corps. The parameters of debate among the elites in this state are as narrow as they are among Eastern establishment, Eastern Seaboard, Eastern establishment elites with respect to the presidential race or presidential politics or the federal government in general. The same thing is happening here. And what you have from these results is what I've said from the beginning. You have the makings of a revolt in Illinois against the political ruling class that we have not had the way all of our neighboring states have had over the last decade, and particularly the last few cycles, because nobody stoked it. And this is Rauner's opportunity. These numbers represent Rauner's opportunity. If he capitulates to the editorial boards and the big government press agents, it's over. So that's his choice in the next week, because there's immense pressure from all those who are purveyors and stakeholders and proponents of big government at any cost. Tax and spend, borrow and spend, our way to utopia. Well, Illinois is the worst governed state in the nation. It's not close. Highest unfunded liabilities, lowest credit rating, on and on and on.
Well, how do you think?
By taking that approach. So I'm just saying, I think this will come as a surprise to a lot of people, these numbers of actual Illinoisans, likely voters, responding to these questions as compared to what you read in the daily papers, what you hear on the network affiliate newscasts. Very different. We're two completely different conversations and perspectives happening here. The perspective contained in this poll is not reported, except here.
Right.
But it's not reported in all those other outlets and by those other press corps I referenced. So what you have for Rauner is the makings of a revolt and the makings of a surprise. And I'm not just talking about Rauner's reelection. I'm talking about deposing Mike Madigan in November of 2018 as well. Suburban Democrat office holders who shouldn't be office holders, these people take them out if they're represented. If Rauner puts himself and Republicans put themselves on their side and take the policy fight to the other side. That's what this is. This is an opportunity.
How will this affect Governor Rauner?
How will it affect him?
Yeah.
Hopefully it will embolden him to be right where he is. Unless I have long-term structural property tax relief that lowers, this is my opinion. He hasn't gone this far, but this is my opinion, that returns people's home equity to them by lowering their bills, then I'm not doing a budget. I'm not going to just raise taxes and pretend this is a revenue problem, which is what Senate Democrats and a lot of spineless, bulbous-headed jellyfish in the Republican caucuses want to do. This should strengthen everyone's resolve who has any concern for the financial stability of this state. Should. Oh, by the way, another story we did in Chicago City Wire, one of my outlets, CPS could save close to $200 million by closing empty schools. 116 CPS schools are more than 50% empty. 77 are more than 70% empty.
Phew.
This is
Sanger High School's got to be one of those.
Oh, yeah. 304 of the 566 buildings CPS operates are underutilized, meaning at least 20% empty. 116 more than 50, 77 more than 70% empty. Moving those 41,000 students elsewhere would save $181 million, according to the analysis that we did. Duplicative teachers, administrators, operational staff, custodians, lunchroom attendants, and the like.
And they can sell the buildings, too.
Yeah.
They did sell one shuttered CPS school to a charter school.
Reports.
And made a lot of money.
Reports, yeah, but they're not doing that anymore.
I know.
Reports out this week about Chicago losing population again in 2016, just as it did in 2015. Guess what? CPS is hemorrhaging children as well in terms of student population. But they're pretending that the system is still in charge of 400,000 kids when it's not, because they're gone. So, when you look at stories like this about CPS, or when you think about spending versus revenue, think about stories and you hear the tales of woe from Forrest Claypool or from Karen Lewis, think about stories like this, where they're perpetrating a fraud. They want to keep up appearances at any cost while they demand more. And if you don't sign that blank check, then you don't like kids. That's what they got. That's what their offer is, which is why you see these numbers in this poll. People know they're being hustled, and they're looking for somebody who's going to lay it straight and take out the hustlers, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Greg in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Which Ronner hasn't done, in my estimation. He's not laid out the case exactly like you've just done, Dan. And this is not rocket science. This is numbers. This is basically, a subtraction process where you want to come out with at least zero. And we're not even doing that. And what I would do if I was Ronner, I would literally stand up and say, okay, look, Republicans were the minority. We just tossed on another $4.5 billion in taxes. Here's the scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys tell me how to make this work so we're not going to go broke. Because we're past exponential return in my estimation. Or at least it seems like we are.
Yes, thanks for the call, Greg. And I'll tell you, here's the thing, for Ronner. Well, if Republicans cave and they pass these tax increases without any spending reforms, with the appearance of bipartisanship, then I veto it. Then you veto it. Then that's exactly what you do. If it takes being Howard Rourke, you against the world in this world of Illinois, the political world in Illinois, you want to be Howard Rourke. That's what these numbers say. You want to be Howard Rourke. You don't want to be Ellsworth Toohey and all of the others that are co-conspirators or compliant or willfully blind. Nick in Barrington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Ronner's not a fighter. He's proven that he has no spine, and I supported him. But you could see that he still can't even mention Trump's name, and Trump proved that people want a fighter. They want someone who's going to stand up for what's right. And as long as Ronner doesn't say what the real problem is and come on like a fighter instead of coming out with his duct tape and flannel shirts with his Boy Scout image, he's going to be a loser. So I'd love to think positive like you're saying, but I don't see that happening. And people are leaving. People are making moves with their feet, and they're leaving Illinois. All the people that are paying the taxes and that voted them, they're leaving. I talk with my friends; they all want to leave. They want out of Illinois. So I'd like to be optimistic, but it's tough to do so. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Nick. Look, to be fair, Ronner has held the line. He could have caved. He hasn't. And so that's number one. Number two, in terms of the messaging, the market positioning, I agree with you, Nick. I agree with you. I don't think it's where it needs to be. Dale in Gary, Indiana.
Good morning, people. How are you today?
Good.
Okay. Being next door, believe it or not, we have similar issues in Indiana as you all have in Illinois. Not only that, I recently moved here from California. And so I actually kind of question whether or not you all are the most taxed state in the union. having lived in California.
California's close.
California,
Yeah, they're right on our tails.
But here's the thing, and I've been dealing with this because I'm part of a group that's planting a parochial school. Not a charter school, but a parochial school in Gary. And I found myself wondering what undergirds how we value public education. Reality is, whatever you feel about public education, for at least 100 years, the United States as a group has said that it's in the best interest of our country that we have an educated citizen. Not just those who can afford it, but everybody.
Yeah.
Now, if you value individual, if you will, individual fairness over community fairness, then basically the only thing the government should do is just write a check, hand it to each family, and you go where you want to go. Except you write a check and you hand it to the families. Well, private schools will say, well, how much will the market bear? Well, that's how much we'll charge. So just because you write a check to every family for $5,000 doesn't mean every school will charge $5,000.
Okay. Yeah, I know. We understand this. We have this at the collegiate level. So, Dale, quickly, what's the point?
So what I wonder is, what is our actual philosophy regarding education? Do we think as long as it's me and my four, it's glory, glory? Or do we think that I want to make sure that no child is having to get by off of decades-old books, i.e. the way it was back in the days of separate but equal?
Yeah,
Board of Education.
Look, have we lived up to the performance of Brown versus Board of Education? No, we have not. We do have separate systems, and it's disproportionately minority, but it's largely socioeconomic, of course. And it's because we have centrally planned school systems, particularly in urban centers, that have been insulated from the competition you're talking about as somebody starting a parochial school and allowing families that are otherwise currently discriminated against based on their household address and income to have the same opportunities as the rich and the politically connected. And generally speaking, overall, we do a horrific job of connecting inputs to outputs. Why do we have old books? Why do we have buildings that are in disrepair? Is it because we're not spending enough money, or is it because how that money is spent and who gets the power of the purse? Those are the conversations we don't have in Chicago, which is why we have one of the worst public school systems in the Western Hemisphere. Dale, thanks for the call.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Ament, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman and Ament and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman and Ament needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Need a new CPAP? Then we need you. We're CPAP.com, and we recently overstocked the world's best CPAP machines. Top-of-the-line devices from brands like ResMed and Philips Respironics. Call now and get one of these overstocked CPAPs for a fraction of the price. We'll even give you free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. The best part? No insurance needed. We're giving out these CPAPs at prices so low, they'll cost less than your copay and deductible through insurance. CPAP.com has shipped over 1 million orders and has the world's largest selection of CPAPs and accessories. With no retail overhead or costly middlemen, we're the best way to get comfortable, effective sleep apnea equipment at incredibly low prices. Again, CPAP.com has overstocked premium CPAPs. Call now to get a ResMed or Philips Respironics machine for a fraction of the price with free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. Hurry. When these overstocked CPAPs are gone, they're really gone. That's 1-800-500-5671.
Hey, the school year is rapidly coming to an end, and maybe you're looking back and saying, didn't like my child's school experience. Well, now's the perfect time to start thinking about doing something different. Don't send your child back to a school that you're not happy with. Start thinking about sending your child to a private school at half the regular price, thanks to halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, find a local private school from all over the Chicago area: Aurora, Downers Grove, South Holland, Mount Prospect, Chicago, just to name a few. Click on the tuition voucher and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It's that simple. There's no catch, but these vouchers always sell out. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Guys, are you tired of being tired? Frustrated because it seems impossible to lose belly fat? If you're looking for a solution, then listen to Mark.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds, and more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic. I'll be totally honest, I tried a different product, and I wasn't happy with the different product. You guys are considerably cheaper than the other brand, and I can really feel the difference.
Andro 400 Max, the extra strength, all natural testosterone booster. The safe, easy, and affordable way to gain energy and lose stubborn belly fat. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Feel and look like a new man. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
If your roof is needy, if your roof is leaky,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof isn't right after it's stormy and shingles are curly,
call Grumweedy.
If your roof is looking needy, call Crumweedy. This is Mark Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Greg Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business. We've been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You really can't do that unless you do really amazing roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we really want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is really the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. You know, a lot of companies don't do that, and that could really void your warranty.
No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems. When your roof is needy,
call Grumweedy.
For your needy roof, go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll talk to Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. In answer to this question, can Trump win his war with the D.C. press corps? That's at 8:38.
and later the New England Patriots are sponsoring a gay bowl. But first,
In memory of Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, too soon. DP, too soon. But first, let's go into the newsroom to a very civilized Mike Scott.
54 degrees, cloudy skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. President Trump attending a summit of NATO leaders in Brussels today as he continues his overseas trip. Also, there is British Prime Minister Theresa May, who says she'll be referring to Trump comments about the U.S. possibly leaking information about the Manchester bombing attack that killed 22 to the media.
I will make clear to President Trump that intelligence that is shared between our law enforcement agencies must remain secure.
Meantime, police in the UK continue to investigate that terror attack that has injured as many as 59. The GOP healthcare plan would leave 23 million people uninsured by 2026. Well, that's the assessment of the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, but not everyone agrees with their conclusions. The long-awaited report also finds the measure would reduce the deficit by billions and dramatically reduce premiums for most Americans. A Republican candidate for the U.S. House faces a misdemeanor assault charge for allegedly slamming a journalist to the ground.
And we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing.
Guardian reporter Ben Jacobs claims Greg Gianforte attacked him because he was angered over those questions you heard on health care. Vermont Governor Phil Scott has decided the fate of marijuana in his state. Lawmakers passed a bill legalizing recreational use earlier this year. Scott, a Republican, vetoed that bill on Wednesday. A Canadian girl pulled off the pier by a sea lion over the weekend is being treated for a rare infection, just in case. The 6-year-old was rescued by her grandfather and received only a minor wound, but doctors are concerned that she may have been infected by a bacteria that lives in the mouths of sea mammals and can lead to the loss of a finger or an entire limb. Anthony Rizzo homered twice. Cubs 5-4 winners over the Giants. Diamondbacks sweep out the White Sox with an 8-6 win. The news, a service of Dove Men Plus Care. Did you hear that 91% of guys that use Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant recommend it? Dove Men Plus Care users say it's like the Hoover Dam, but for armpits. Well, if it can hold back that much sweat, it must be good. Pick up some new Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant for yourself at your local retailer. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
When you purchase an alarm system, you do it for one reason above all others. You need to know something about the people or property under your care. Knowing that what matters most will be looked after by professionals when you can't be there is a comforting feeling. At Alarm Detection Systems, we've learned a great deal from our decades of service. We know how to treat customers on the phone. We know that installing quality security products using certified technicians is the only way to go. We know that same-day service and local monitoring will provide the safety and peace of mind you're looking for. You no longer have to wonder if your home or business is protected by your alarm system. Know that it is. At home or on the go, the information you seek is right in your hands. It's good to be in the know. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. That's 630-844-6300 or online at adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
There's no feeling like grabbing a seat in a comfy chair to look through memories in a photo album. It's so much more enjoyable than looking at a computer or the small screen of a smartphone. An album of photos will last a lifetime. They can't be erased or become victim of a crashed hard drive. Print your photo memories at oneclickpics.com, your online photo center. Whether they're for an album, a gift, or framed for display, you want the very best quality. You can get that from the photo experts at oneclickpics.com. OneClickPics.com is a professional photo printer. You'll be amazed at the quality of your pictures, canvas prints, invitations, or announcements. You'll see details in your photos you've never seen before. And right now, when you buy 25 printed photo cards, you get 15 free. Use promo code 15FREE at checkout. Trust your digital picture memories to the photo technicians trained in every aspect of digital photo production. OneClickPics.com. OneClickPix.com.
8:37. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens runs 25 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound, it's 30 to Kennedy, an hour and 6 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 45 minutes from Montrose, 36 in the Express. Outbound 35 to the airport, the Eisenhower, an hour. Thorndale to downtown, 38 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound 42 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 38 minutes. The Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound heavy, 137 to 176. Northbound from the 83rd Street toll to 31st, and from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue, also heavy approaching Balmoral. Northbound Veterans Memorial stop and go. The Boughton toll to the Reagan tollway, and from the Army Trail toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, clouds breaking for a little afternoon sun, a high of 68. Currently 54. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And President Trump, when he gets back from the overseas trip, he's back on the trail. Trump to hold a campaign rally in Iowa, Cedar Rapids, next week. Thursday, June 1st, will be that rally. The last rally was more than a month ago in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, of course. And this seems to me one of the strategies that Trump is using to deal with a incredibly hostile D.C. press corps, a D.C. press corps that wants to see him removed from office. Clearly, it is to go over and around through Twitter, but better and more importantly, by getting out and speaking with American families without the filter of the Washington Post or the New York Times or CNN.
But my favorite part of his first foreign trip is that his tweets have been very calm, very respectful. He's not attacking anybody. I mean, he offered his condolences to the people in Manchester. He thanked, Benjamin Netanyahu and others who have, he's met along the way. But they've been very refined.
But
they've been very, do I say, presidential tweets.
Is more disciplined tweeting and campaign rallies, will that be enough to circumvent and otherwise marginalize the D.C. press corps that wants to see him deposed, removed, and Republicans return to minorities in the House and the Senate? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined again by Mollie Hemingway. She, of course, is a senior editor at The Federalist, thefederalist.com. Always has interesting thought pieces, as does her husband, Mark, over at Weekly Standard. Mm-hmm. And she joins us now. Mollie, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's great to be here with you.
So what about that? Can Trump do a better job of navigating the shark-infested waters of the D.C. press corps for the purposes of advancing both his policy agenda and ultimately maintaining Republican majorities for his term? Are there things that he could be doing other than more disciplined tweeting that Amy was referring to that he isn't doing?
Well, he absolutely could be doing a better job. He needs to be disciplined. I think one thing that's been instructive about the last couple of weeks is even if you knew how hostile the media were towards Donald Trump, you had new understanding of the level of hostility. There is no room for error. There is no room for any nuance. They will put the worst construction on literally every single thing he says or does. They will run stories without the normal level of sourcing or journalistic due diligence that you might expect from major media outlets. And so if that's the climate, he needs to understand that's the climate, and he needs to play ball accordingly.
And the latest thing the mainstream media is doing is they're blaming President Trump for that alleged assault on a reporter from the congressional candidate in Montana.
Yeah, that's actually insane. And the idea that
yes.
the press, which have had horrible ratings for a long time, yes, they've gone off the cliff recently. Yes, they were in barely double digits, like low double digits for Republicans in terms of credibility of the press leading into the elections. I can't imagine how bad they are now. The media have done a lot to break the trust with viewers, readers, and listeners. They have been so hostile to the values and lives and beliefs of many Americans, and that has created a lot of bad blood between the two groups. At the same time, no one thinks it's okay to assault a reporter or anyone else. I mean, that's just completely uncivilized behavior. And if the media can't distinguish between the critiques of them doing a bad job or being really hostile or inappropriate or biased and a call to attack them, it's evidence further of their inability to think through complex topics at any level of detail.
Well, let's square the circle for me. We've got the Harvard study out this week. 80% of the coverage has been negative with respect to Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, 90% negative in Trump's first 100 days as compared to 60% positive for Obama. So that's par for the course with the D.C. press corps. But if they're attacking the values and belief systems of so many Americans such that they're marginalizing themselves, these outlets, then wouldn't it be judicious for Trump just to pay them no mind and let them, give them more rope, as it were, let them do themselves in while he stays focused on his policy agenda?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to stay focused, but also he's just one man. And you would think that even if he's president, he's just one person. And it seems that the Republican Party did not learn terribly many lessons from the 2016 election either, such as you need to fight with a media that's very hostile. I mean, there are things that people say on the Republican side of the aisle, like, this is just how the media are, you just have to deal with it. It kind of is reminiscent of when people say, oh, terrorism is just a fact of life, you have to deal with it. I think a lot of Americans and people globally say, no, you don't just have to deal with unjust situations or problems. You do have to deal with it. But the media also needs to think about what they're doing for civil discourse. And yes, part of the problem is that they're so hostile to Trump. Another part of the problem was that they were so friendly to Obama, they couldn't see anything in front of their eyes because they thought he was so perfect. Just this week, we have a story breaking that the Obama administration routinely spied on Americans, violating their Fourth Amendment rights against illegal search and seizure, that they did this for years and that they only announced that they were doing it to the courts they were supposed to announce this to, regularly on their way out of office. This is a rare chance for the media to cover the Obama administration even after it's out of office and do the type of work that would restore some credibility. And you know what? They're not covering it. They're hiding it. And this is dealing with civil liberty violations of Americans. This is supposedly what reporters care about. If they don't care about it here, you kind of question whether they care about it at all.
They're still starstruck. I mean, the same reporters that were covering President Obama when he was in office are with him in Berlin when he's speaking with Angela Merkel today. It's unbelievable. And it's like reunion week for all of them. But I wanted to ask you about another article you wrote about the media spreading fake news about Ivanka Trump. So not only is the mainstream media trying to take down President Trump, but they're also attacking his family.
Yeah, this one came out last week because the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia announced that they would give $100 million to a World Bank fund that is supposed to help with female entrepreneurs. Now, this fund was Ivanka Trump's idea. She thought it would be good for the World Bank to help female entrepreneurs, but she has nothing to do with the fund other than that. She doesn't oversee the fund. She doesn't fundraise. And yet, many people in the media, at major media outlets from CNN, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and others, said that this was an example of this was the type of thing that Donald Trump criticized Hillary Clinton for. Oh, no, it wasn't. In the Hillary Clinton case, this was Clinton and her husband taking money from oligarchs and nations who had business before the State Department while Hillary Clinton was at the State Department. I mean, that is a conflict of interest that is unquestionable, and the lack of transparency in how these deals went down or how much money Bill Clinton was getting for speeches in various countries or whatnot, this was of concern. When you're not benefiting in any way except that you had an idea for a fund that is administered completely by other people, there's not really a similarity. And when you say that there is, it makes it very hard to discuss any other issues about this type of funding by, it's kind of ironic that Saudi Arabia, which oppresses women, would claim to help out in this fund or would do it this way. There are other things that are interesting about it. Ivanka is not the interesting part of it.
Well, and just on this topic area, since their media, D.C. press corps, so obsessed with Russian collusion and Russian influence in the federal government, Peter Schweitzer, of course, the author of the book Clinton Cash, he reports this week, not picked up in any of these outlets that we're talking about, that in 2011, John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, who was an advisor to Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State, joined the board of an energy company that received $35 million in investment from a Russian company. The Russian company, a public company funded by the Kremlin. In fact, the science minister of Russia calls it Putin's child. And that potentially was a violation of federal law for John Podesta, consulting at the time for Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, to not disclose his holdings in State Department disclosure forms. But so the Russian matter doesn't matter. The examples you gave, they don't matter generally. They only matter narrowly as with respect to Trump if it's a tool that can be used to take down Trump and the Republicans. And as you say, there's a kind of feel a lot wanting from Republican leadership beyond Trump's self-discipline problems.
Right, and that story, I haven't read that yet, but this is yet another example of Russian ties between Clinton and Clinton associates. And if the media actually cared about Russia in intervening in the election or intervening in U.S. politics or being involved in crony capitalism, they would cover these things. I mean, there was the situation where the Clintons were paid a huge pile of cash at the same time that the State Department signed off on giving away a bunch of uranium reserves to Russia. If we really cared, that would be a scandal. And if we don't care, that's why you get this focus on Trump and Russia, despite, how many times do people in the know have to keep admitting, even though they don't want to, that there's no evidence of collusion between Russia and Trump? And yet this story keeps going. It leads the front pages of newspapers and tops, the news stories at various networks, despite the fact that they're still, after many months of people digging through everything, there being no evidence of same.
And these stories you're talking about, like the New York Times story today about looking for ways to influence Trump, it's basically like a cut and paste of the story from the previous day on the same topic with a different headline. Yeah. They're just recycling the same story.
They keep repeating the same thing and acting like it's breathless each time they repeat it. But that story is a good example, too, because they say that they have evidence that Russia was trying to influence Trump. Well, that would be in direct opposition to the previous claim that they were colluding together. In a sense, it would refute the claim. Right. But then within the story itself, it says there's absolutely no evidence that they succeeded in trying to influence or whatnot. So why is this top story at the New York Times when it's basically a big nothing burger? And yet this happens drip, 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 day after day, and it has an effect on people's views.
Well, the good news is that in the digital age, in the 21st century, there are many, many outlets that wouldn't exist in a previous era. One of them is The Federalist. Molly Hemingway is senior editor at The Federalist. So for little context to the New York Times and the Washington Post and watchdogging those outlets that do have influence even when they're using it to, I wouldn't say illegitimate ends. If they want to oppose a president, that's fine. But disingenuous ends, it's good to have outlets like The Federalist. Molly Hemingway, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Gallagher here with exciting news about Woodfield Nissan. If you've waited to buy your next car, there may never be a better time to buy because Woodfield Nissan is drastically reducing the prices on all their vehicles to make room for incoming inventory. Now, this is your chance to save at least 25% off MSRP on select new Nissans. Every new Nissan is on sale. There's no other Nissan dealer in the Midwest that I recommend. Don't waste your time shopping around. Go to Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates. A huge selection of 2017 Nissan Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues, now available with 0% APR financing for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. And they have a $2,000 Nissan customer cash rebate. Buy your next Nissan at Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates, 2 miles west of the Woodfield Shopping Mall at Gulf and Higgins, or go to woodfieldnissan.com.
Prices are plus tax, title, license, and doc fee, and savings off MSRP is on select models. 0% APR financing is on select models to qualified buyers and is $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance to qualified buyers. Interest may be accrued from date of delivery. 2 or more available with this offer.
Hey, have you heard the Bolingbrook Golf Club? That's where we're having our annual golf outing, sponsored in part by Joe Cotton Ford. But there's more than just golf at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Besides that wonderful Mother's Day brunch they had and that great restaurant, they're also going to have a great Independence Day celebration, complete with food, fun, and, of course, fireworks. You can find all the details about their 4th of July celebration at BolingbrookGolfClub.com. That's BolingbrookGolfClub.com.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-400-1841. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-1841. Again, that's 1-800-400-1841.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump's victory produced a plethora of leftist think pieces plotting their escape from their coastal bubbles, so they're never so blindsided again. After a 6-month probationary period, can we finally dismiss as disingenuous their intellectual curiosity? During that time, the left has written more Russian fiction than Boris Pasternak. The budding totalitarians on college campuses have attacked professors, shouted down the education secretary, and argued that white men do not enjoy First Amendment rights. In Chicago, a group of nasty women hosted an art exhibit fundraiser for Planned Parenthood featuring an anti-Trump painting stained with the vaginal blood from the artist. In Phoenix, the city used taxpayer dollars to help finance a billboard depicting Trump as a money-grubbing Nazi. Storied MIT linguistics professor Noam Chomsky claimed recently that the Republican Party is the greatest threat to mankind's survival in the history of the world. I don't see much common ground to be forged here, and frankly, I'm not terribly interested in indulging lunacy. If I'm a deplorable, then they are the unsalvageables. I say we let them stay scrolled away in their bubbles, and we pop them again in November of 2018.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-5236. That's 1-800-500-5236. 1-800-500-5236.
When you get in your car, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get to where you want to be. The same is true for retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. And in Chicago, that voice is Jack Taboda. Join Jack every Saturday morning at 7, right here on 560 The Answer. Jack's nearly 40 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take that first step. Tune in Saturday mornings at 7 for retirement planning with Jack Taboda of Taboda and Associates.
AM 560, The Answer.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning.
You know, you don't want that Rob Quist to win because
why?
Country songs don't have happy endings. You'll end his songwriting career.
That's right. Yeah, so we'll have election results from Montana tomorrow. And thanks so much for making us part of your days. Thanks to Justin, our technical director, and thank you so much to Keith Conrad, our executive producer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Cloudy skies, 54 degrees, 5 in custody following a shootout involving Aurora police. Metra commuter train service to install a brand new camera system. We'll tell you why. Body found in a Chicago lagoon. Cubs clip the Giants. D-backs sweep the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.